Hey, what's up, everyone? Hopefully, the lighting looks okay. Let me get this stream up on my computer here in case I get behind on the comments. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for being here. This is episode 550 of the Venom vlog, and I figured we would do a live chat / AMA in case anyone had any questions, anything like that. So feel free, if you do, jump in the comments. What's up, man? Brendan, how's it going, dude? Welcome. Hello.
Feel free. You do.
Oh, audio's working. Good. How are you, dude? Good to see you. And the chat is up. Good. So now I can look to the, if I get behind on the comments, I can look over on my screen here. So welcome, man. Hello, everyone. 5 people in here already. Thank you. Thanks for the thumbs up already. Appreciate it. You're doing good. Awesome. Again, this is episode 550. I think when we crossed 2,000 subscribers, I think I ate a bunch of junk food that made me sick for like 2 whole days afterwards. So we're not going to do that again. Today, I just figured it would just be a fun chat. Hello, congrats. Hey, thank you, Swordsman. Congrats on 2,500. He said, congrats on that and everything that is positive in your life. Hey, thank you, FN901. I appreciate it, man. You guys are the positive things in my life consistently by supporting this show. Like when I started this show, I had been on YouTube for I think 4 years already, just doing random stuff, the Seek and Destroy show, doing toy reviews, doing random things, talking about Transformers. And although I was growing, it was like really long bouts in between because I think I didn't have an identity on this show. I think everyone's like, Artie's a nerd, but he's too scatterbrained. He's not focused on anything. And although I still am a little scatterbrained for the most part, my focus, at least on Venom, what's up, Pikachu? How's it going? My focus, at least on Venom, has been consistent. And here we are at 550 episodes. And because of that, and because of people on Instagram who reached out and subscribed to save the channel, like when it was going to be demonetized, and even though we didn't make it at that time, everyone who subscribed still helped out because later on we got remonetized, and that's helped out. And as you guys know, recently I got my first check from YouTube, just from you guys watching, and then the few super chats that we've gotten. I think we've gotten like 4 super chats ever, and then we had just you guys watching. And the longer you watch each video, the more it helps the channel and everything. So because of you guys, literally is why I had that money come in right when rent was due last month, and it helped me out. It was like $200, and it helped me pay rent. So thank you guys. I was like just short of rent, and my mom was like, "I'll let you borrow the money," and then that money came in, and I was like, man, I owe everybody on YouTube like so much. So thank you guys, for supporting me, for watching my show, for watching any shows I put on here. It does mean a lot, and I appreciate you being here for the live episode. Thank you for the 3 thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here live, so we can just chat today. We have questions, ask me questions, whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, it's time to celebrate. We have Men in Tights podcast. That's Julian in the chat. We have Swordsman, both of those who have been on the Parasite podcast, and their episodes went up just in the past few days. So feel free to go check out those episodes. You're welcome. Hopefully the X-Men project will be this successful as well. The X-Men thing is just a passion thing, kind of like some of the other stuff I do on here, like Ghost Rider and stuff. So I don't know how up to date I'll keep up with it. It may fall behind sometimes, but my goal is to because I was trying to think, I was like, next year when Venom 2 comes out, when Let There Be Carnage comes out, we'll pretty much be out of comics to talk about. I mean, there may be an alternate universe story here or there that I maybe haven't covered and stuff, but I'm not going to push myself too hard to get all of those. I'm gonna do some of them for sure, but I'm just trying to think, focus on the main continuity and then do a couple spin-offs things. But and then Morbius, we'll talk more about Morbius, and then Spider-Man 3 when that's gearing up. Whatever villain's going to be in that movie, maybe we'll do a spotlight on that villain. So there will be things we'll do, but I just noticed the amount of episodes will shrink, and it'll be harder to finish a season of Venom vlog because it'll be harder to pump out 150 episodes rapid fire like we've been doing now, because now we have all these comics, we have these toys, but eventually that stuff's going to die down, and eventually we're going to run out of the comics. I mean, after Flash Thompson, we pretty much just have the Mike Costa run to talk about, and then we're going to go back and talk about Peter Parker and the time that he was, had the black costume. So we're going to talk about that too. So then after that, it's slim pickings from there. So I wanted something in the works to be coming out. And hey, thank you, Venomized Ryan. Thank you so much, dude. And thank you guys for the 4 thumbs up. I appreciate it. So you saying about X-Men, my plan is to not do so much on that now, But in time, I hope that'll become the next show that I do on here consistently, because I'm sure after Venom Let There Be Carnage comes out, we should be, that's end of 2021, we should be in an area where they might start talking about what Disney's going to do with X-Men. Thank you very much. Let's Talk Carnage. We got to have you on a Parasite podcast. Lonely Symbiote keeps suggesting you, so please email me. Thank you, Drake, man. I appreciate it. I'm proud of all of us, man. We are Venom. We did this together. Earlier I was recording a Parasite podcast earlier with Jared Benkins, who is the actor who played Isaac in the first Venom movie. And me and him were talking about the channel and just like how it's grown, and how he was saying, oh, when I was acting, I didn't think anyone would pay attention to me, and it's so cool that I've kind of grown as an actor. And I said, yeah, same thing. When I've been doing YouTube for like 4 years, and I had like an audience of maybe like 300 or 400 subscribers, and I was like, yeah, no one really likes hearing me talk about the stuff I like talking about. And it wasn't until Venom came along that this channel grew like it did. And it's like, and I thought no one's going to care to hear me talk about Venom. Like nobody gives a crap, and everyone's going to make fun of this movie. And it was the exact opposite, man. So I'm glad, and I'm proud of all of us for getting here. Thank you, Flaming Hotspot. How's it going, dude? Good to see you again. Fresh new ideas after Null is inevitably defeated. Hard to imagine Marvel without Venom comics. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like Venom now, that's the one thing I got to give Donny Cates credit for. Even if I nitpick his actual issue by issue stories, I got to say on a whole, he's done a lot for the character, because he was a name that was like a rising rock star name at Marvel, and they put him on Venom. I mean, that just never really happens. Like David Michelinie and all those guys, and they're all great writers, but they weren't they weren't hailed at that time as like these rock stars. And every once in a while you get like that in comics, like they're like Scott Snyder rock star, Donny Cates rock star, and they'll throw these names out there and they elevate them and they put them on key books. And Donnie wanted to go on Venom, and I got to give the guy credit. Like he could have picked any Marvel book probably at that point, after Thanos Wins did so well, and after his Doctor Strange book did a little well. Been a fan since Harmontown. Oh, hey, thanks, man. Fizzle Beef, you're old school. Dude, thank you. That means a lot to me. You're gonna see that book, Elan Vital, that I did way back then. I've been editing it, making like a digital version. It's not that impressive. I'm doing my best. I still don't know a lot about editing. I'm still trying to figure stuff out, but I'm putting together something to just kind of release it for free in a new format on the internet here, on YouTube, because when I made it in 2016, it was kind of my comment on the world and my place in it. And I noticed that the world hasn't changed, but my place in it has. So I thought it'd be cool to re-examine that story and re-release it. So you'll see some of that too. And thank you for being a Harmontown fan. I miss Dan. I miss him. It sucks that I don't live in California anymore, because I do miss that guy a lot. Will there be a Jared Leto cameo in Venom 2? I have no idea. That'd be awesome, though. Jared Leto today posted that he's working on his new album. And he was asking people, what should we name the album? And I said, name it Living Vampire, which is a Morbius reference. He has done a lot for the character. I've been waiting my whole life for a rock star to take on Venom. I mean, that's the thing, is like he's elevated Venom into the stratosphere. I think that would have happened anyway with the success of the movie. So some of it could have been luck and timing as well as talent. But I think all three of those things are what make you a rock star. So I'm not trying to take any credit away from Donny Cates. He came in the book at the right time, but I still think Mike Costa ended really strong with his run. So, and I hope the same with Donny Cates. I hope he does too. I'm doing good. I still need to catch up on your videos. Well, I don't know why you're not caught up. I only put out like 23 of them last week. I counted them up. Lonely Symbiotes Parasite podcast. From there until whatever, I did 2 episodes on Saturday, I think I posted. So from Saturday to Saturday, it was 23 episodes of just random stuff on my channel. It was a lot. And then I did 2 articles for Andy. I'm still working on the 3rd one now, so I'm hoping to send that to him tonight. And after that, I'm like, I'm not doing anything else this week. I think on Thursday, I'm recording a couple Ghost Rider episodes to catch up on Ghost Rider. And then that's it. I don't think I'm going to make any videos this weekend. My interview with Jared Benkins, that's going to go up over the weekend. And that's it. That's going to be my only video that'll probably go up on Saturday or Sunday. Thank you for the 7 thumbs up, everybody. Appreciate it. So start us off. I asked RNS this, but it'd be nice to get your opinion as well. In an alternate universe where Eddie stayed as Venom in Civil War, whose team would he choose, Cap or Tony? if Eddie was Venom during Civil War, what side would he choose? Well, I don't know if he would choose the side Spider-Man was on, and Spider-Man started out on Tony's side. So I feel like he would probably side with Cap. Probably. And then when Spider-Man came to that side, there could have been a cool story moment about that there. So I don't know. Or either that, or when Cap started beating up Punisher, Eddie might have intervened and said, like, hey, knock it off. Don't beat him up. Because I think Eddie kind of likes Punisher and on some level thinks Punisher likes him because they're similar. But Punisher hates Venom and he hates Eddie. So that would have been a cool. I would have. I don't know what side he would have chose, but as a writer, I probably would have put him on Cap's side. That would have been cooler. Hey, congrats. Hey, thank you, Florian. How's it going, dude? Not to mention Mike's amazing run probably helped us to boost it. I think it did. I think people who were reading Mike's stuff then got more excited for Donnie's stuff. I agree. But Mike's stuff didn't sell that well, sadly. So having Venom sell much better now and selling like an A-list book is amazing. I think it's the first time that's happened since the 90s, pretty much. So that's great. That's fine. You deserve a break. Are you asking me? I don't know if I deserve a break. Yeah, I don't know if I deserve one, but I'd be very nervous being offered a Parasite podcast. Well, so the thing with Parasite podcast, you have to be over 18 and you just have to have Skype. That's pretty much the two qualifications. If you're interested, the email address to write is the Parasite Podcast, all together, one word, the Parasite Podcast @gmail. Just send me an email. Even if you're not interested right now, if you're like, hey, I'm too nervous right now, but I might be interested in the future, shoot me an email. That way, at least I know I can put you on the list, of possibilities. You'd say Cap as well, yeah, for sure. Eddie would have been with Cap for sure. Eddie's mullet says. Yeah, I think he would have went for Cap. I think mainly just because Spider-Man went with Venom, and he would have been like, oh, this is a reason to like finally smash Spider-Man because I'm on the side of Captain America, But yeah, like I said, I think when Punisher came in, that would have kind of rocked the boat for Eddie a little bit, which could have been cool to tackle that. Thank you for Eddie's mullet. Congrats to all of us. We are Venom. Like we're all this channel. Like it's not just me. So no, I can make videos all day. I can make 23 videos in a week, but if nobody watches them, then, this channel doesn't grow. So you guys are just as responsible for the success and 2,500 subscribers as I am. So thank you guys. This is a team effort, man. We are a team here. Hotspot says there's info on episode 4 of Maximum Venom, but I feel like I would have little to do with no Venom. Yeah, I can't remember if it was you or someone else sent me a bio on it where they talked about Swarm was going to be in the episode, which is great because I love Swarm, but it mentioned nothing on symbiotes. So I'm a little concerned because I saw the way they structured last season 2 of their show, and they were like, all right, here we have these 10 episodes and they're this, and then we have like this 2-part Venom story, then we have this 5-part Goblin War story, and then we have this 5-part Superior Spider-Man story. So they broke things up like that, and I'm worried that they branded this whole season Maximum Venom, but they're doing that with it. So I'm thinking maybe episode 4 won't have anything to do based on the synopsis. I don't know for sure, but I hope I'm wrong. And then maybe 5 will start picking up the threads of who that person was at the end of episode 3 that grabbed the seed. And then episode 6 will be the big finale. But I think for me, the most thing I'm hurt about is like, I can understand Eddie being in a coma and they don't have him in the season that much. That I can understand. But I thought Venom, when he died in the first episode, I'm like, oh, he's not dead. There's no way. They kind of confirm in episode 3 that he's dead. They say it like 2 or 3 times. So I'm hoping that's just to throw us off, and that they'll reveal that some form of Venom is still alive and he'll be the big bad guy. Because right now I'm like, this, it doesn't even have Venom, and he had Venom in 1 episode, and the season's called Maximum Venom. So it's like, it's one thing to not have Eddie there if he's going to stay in the coma. I still hope he wakes up. That's my thing, is I'm hoping he wakes up, but I hope he wakes up because of anti-Venom. That'd be really cool, because we have Groot out there as anti-Venom, and you could take that off Groot and put it on Eddie. I don't know. We'll see. But I would like something like that to happen, but I'm just, Venom's got to be in the finale. I hope he is. Thanks for replying. I'm 21. Okay, cool. Oh, there you go, man. So as long as you're 21, or as long as you're over 18, that's the only stipulation to be on the show. And that's just YouTube rules. Like if I have a guest on the show that's under 18, then then I have to flag the video as that, and then it just doesn't get seen, or it's like really weird. But yeah, I can't have anyone under 18 in any of my episodes, basically. Moving forward. So that's the only reason. Venom be wrecking some Avengers with no powers. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maximum Venom better not be anticlimactic. I hope not either. That's true. I hope not. Will Cletus Cassidy become Carnage and Maximum Venom? If you don't want to talk about it out loud, that's okay. Just send me a comment on it. And honestly, swear to freaking God, I won't tell anyone. I don't do that. Whatever. I mean, I don't know the answer to your question anyway. But I'll tell you this: like, I was on the phone earlier with Jared, and I brought up, oh yeah, I saw New Mutants 2 years ago, and because I was like, oh, I've been making a lot of X-Men content. He's like, oh, I love the X-Men, and I go, yeah, but I got to be careful what I say because I saw New Mutants 2 years ago, and he was like, oh, really? He's like, how was the movie? And I go, dude, I can't tell you. Like even Jared, who's a friend, and he works in movies and stuff, and he was just like, he's like, well, how was it? And I go, I can't tell you, dude. Like I can't give an opinion on that movie, so I don't tell. When people entrust me with stuff, I don't say it. I just don't say it. The same with, episodes. Like when people go like, "Oh, how'd you find that information?" I go, I probably just did the research for it, or I dug into it, or I looked into IMDb. That's just how I get my information. Sometimes there is no one at Sony that contacts me. I mean, that would be nice, because I'm broke. I would hate. It sucks paying for. I mean, it doesn't suck because I love Venom. But buying Venom toys, buying Venom Funko Pops, like buying all these things, I'm broke. It's hard to buy all that stuff and then make episodes on them. So I consider it kind of an investment in a way, but it's an investment where I'm always losing money. So I would love for Hasbro to send me Venom toys or Funko to send me Venom stuff, and me talk about them and just show you guys the content. I would love to do something like that for you guys and have that ability, but I just can't. I can't afford it, and I don't have contacts like that. I know people that work at Sony, but they don't work in the division that would give me any information or anything. Like some of them work in video games and stuff. So yeah, even if I could answer your question, I wouldn't even do it privately. Actually, when people ask me, I just go like, I can't help you. Like I can't do it. I'll tell you this though, as a fan, I would like to see Cletus in the show, but there's only 3 episodes left, so I'm not sure if there's room for the character, but I would like it very much. I know Carnage has already been in the animated universe on Thanos, so yeah, I don't know. Should have been called Maximum Symbiotes. That's what I was thinking. That's so funny. I was thinking the same thing, Eddie's mullet. Should have been called Maximum Symbiotes. But I think because symbiotes is not a, they're obviously they're aping off the Venom name, the popularity of the movie and the comic. So I get it, but it doesn't. There's not a lot of Venom in it. So you're right. It'd be more accurate to call it Maximum Symbiotes. Have Eddie been revived in episode 5 or 6? That'd be cool. I would love it. I mean, I love Eddie, and they did set him up on the show, so I hope there's some kind of payoff with that. The one who grabbed the seed was Connors, because if you look closely, you can see his robotic arm. See, I wasn't sure if that was his robotic arm or not, because if you look at like this show in particular, whenever Spider-Man's not in his Spider-Man outfit, when he's Peter Parker, whenever Mary Jane's there, she's only been in one scene, I guess that's a bad example. Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, these characters are only in one outfit mostly for the entire series. Like sometimes they'll wear like a business suit or change once or twice, but mostly they're in one outfit. So when I looked at the clothes, it looked a lot like Norman Osborn's clothes. But the laugh threw me off because I felt like I know Norman laughs because he's a goblin, but I feel like that laugh could have been Connors too. So I'm kind of leaning that it could be Connors, but I feel like it could be Norman as well. I didn't notice the robotic arm though, so maybe there's more to it. Planet of the Symbiotes would have been a better season title. Planet of the Symbiotes would have been good, yeah, considering what we got so far. I mean, it's just a more accurate title. I understand why they went with Maximum Venom, but you're right. As far as accuracy goes, Maximum Symbiotes or Planet of the Symbiotes would have been better. You need crowdfunding collaboration with more popular comic YouTubers. See, here's my thing is I don't like the popular YouTubers. Like there's a couple of them that will message me and say like, hey, because I offered, I'm like, hey man, I'll help you if you, because I'll see these videos go up like, by different people. I don't want to name their names because I'm not trying to trash talk them, but they'll make videos and they'll say, oh, new trailer's coming, or check out this screenshot we got, and it's all fake stuff. Like, do you remember like 2 months ago when all that fake stuff kept coming out? These guys were making videos on it, and I said, look, you're ruining my channel when you do that, because now everyone who watches your bullshit, in my opinion. And I know that sounds mean, but it is. Sometimes those guys, they're just doing it for the clicks. They don't care about putting false information out there. They don't care about the ramifications of putting false information out there. They just rinse and repeat the stuff they see everyone else do. And I don't see there's not a lot of integrity there. So when they go and pump stuff out like turds, it's like, I'm like, anyone can take a crap, dude. You know, but to take the perfect crap, no, I'm kidding. So anyway, I see that, and then so I offered to them, hey, message me, send me stuff that you find, and I'll tell you if I think it's fake or not. And if I can do research and prove that it's fake, I will. But sometimes they send me stuff, and I'm just like, you don't need me to tell you this is fake. It's clearly bullcrap. It's clearly fake. That's why I'm like leaving social media too, because I'm just like I'm getting tired of it. So I don't I don't have anything against them personally, those bigger YouTubers, but the kind of content they make, I don't even care if that would help my channel to go on their show. I don't want to go on their show because I don't want to like, I don't know. I'm willing to help them not spread fake information if I can help them do that. But I'm not going to go on a show that spreads fake information constantly. Like, that's just not how I do it. I mean, it's not how I want to be perceived. I don't want to enable that behavior by going on those shows, if that makes any sense. And I don't want to do any crowdfunding because I crowdfunded a book a couple years ago, and I'm still trying to wrap it up and finish it by this Christmas. So I'm not thinking about any more crowdfunding things until next year. And Patreon, same thing. I deleted Patreon. Just, it's not worth doing all that stuff right now. Highly doubt that they're gonna squeeze our favorite serial killer into the next few episodes. I don't think so. I don't think they will either. Couldn't see the silhouette clearly and can't recognize the laugh. Yeah, it's tough. They called the symbiote story in Guardians of the Galaxy Planet of the Symbiotes. Oh, did they? I don't remember the name of that episode, but I remember watching the episode. The subtitle Maximum Venom is for casual audiences who only know Venom and aren't aware the symbiotes exist. I mean, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I get why they call it. They're aping off the name so that way they can brand T-shirts and stuff with Maximum Venom for sure. That's their cash grab because the movie was a success. The comic is a hit right now. So, yeah, absolutely. I just want your channel to grow. I mean, here's the thing is, yeah, I like seeing my channel grow. It's great, but I like the pace we're going at. When you grow too fast, it'll be overwhelming for me. I'll probably have some anxiety attacks, panic attacks, things like that. So I don't like growing too fast as far as that goes. But also, there are easy ways to grow a channel. I could be just like those bigger YouTubers, and I could have made videos on all those leaks, even though I knew they weren't real. I could have made videos on every single one of them and put them out like the day those leaks happened, and people would have watched them, and it would have climbed our view count and subscriber list. But I just don't want people to expect that kind of content on this channel. I was talking to, I think it was, well, I don't know if I commented on his videos, but there's a guy named Perch, Comics by Perch on YouTube, and I met him through Wes at Thinking Critical. And I like listening to Perch sometimes. I don't always agree with his opinions, but I do like listening to his show because he does talk about that. He's like, I could make clickbaity videos and grow my channel faster because those seem to be what get all the clicks and what people come to. They kind of, like, if I made, like, I kind of debating. I want to make a video on Tom King right now because I don't like the way he acted this week towards Jay Lee, who's one of my favorite comic book artists. I have a Inhumans tattoo on my arm because of Jay Lee's work on Inhumans with Paul Jenkins. And I've met Jay a dozen times. He's the nicest guy in the world. In June, his wife, and I knew about his dog Loki, who passed away. I didn't know it passed away, but I knew he had a dog named Loki. So I didn't like how he was treated. So I could make a video on that, and that could have gotten 500-600 views, which is big for my channel right now. And it could have brought in more people. But then I would then people will come to this channel expecting that kind of stuff all the time. Like, oh, this guy, he's calling people out, he's being, focusing on the drama and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that stuff gets clicks because it plays off people's emotions, and it's manipulative. I'm going to stop trying to say it. You know what I'm trying to say. So I don't want to do that. I just want to make the content I like. And Perch said in his video, he goes, I either have to stop caring about the likes, or I have to stop caring about the views and the subscribers, if I want to just make the content I make. And I think Royce said this too. On a Parasite podcast, the comedian Sinbad, his son Royce, was on an episode recently, and he said the same thing. He's like, do I care about views or do I care about the content I make? And to me, I'm like, well, the views are great. I don't get a lot of them, but we're still growing as a channel. So to me, that's all that's nice. It's a good feeling. It's good to know that the work I put into this is spreading and getting out there, but I don't make content for everybody. Like I think most people on YouTube are young, they're younger, and they look for that drama and they want to yell at people for having different opinions, and they want to be, hyperbolic, and they want to be, they want to, I don't know, they want to be just reactive and things like that. And I just don't make that kind of content. So when you say, oh, I wish your channel would grow more, it's like, it can, but it's going to have to either go at the pace we're going at, or I'm going to become something I don't want to be just to get more views. So that's why I struggle with that kind of stuff. It's never good when people deliberately spread lies. I don't think so either. I agree with that. It happens practically all the time, unfortunately. It does. Yeah, absolutely. Almost every YouTuber is full of crap. And it's like, it sucks because there was a couple of times where I was talking out of my butt on things. But you know what? Privately, I got called out for them. And I was like, okay, let's not do that again. Like, they're right. I think that day I was just wanting to get a video out, and I didn't do as much research as I normally would on something. And I just put a video out, and somebody called me out for it. And I appreciated that. I said, yeah, don't make sure I don't become the thing I don't want to be. What's that song? I Won't Become the Thing I Hate by Stabbing Westward. That's a good song. It's like our mutual friend Dave the Film Junkie says, have some integrity, man. Yeah, it's true. Although Dave said something recently that I still don't like that he said, but and the way he presented it was even less. It was even more shitty, actually. To be, to have a little criticism of him. I'm sure I've done things on my show he might not like too, but he went forward with something that I talked to him with in private, and the way he handled it on the show, it's just like I get it. Dave's just a guy who just comments on things. He's just like, he's not like, I don't know if Dave would consider himself a journalist. He would just consider himself a hardcore fan that likes to talk to other fans. So it's hard to be critical of him on this, because I feel like as a journalist, it was the wrong thing to do. But if he doesn't describe himself as a journalist, because I went through that with the Venom Maniacs podcast recently. They did some things on Twitter that I personally didn't like, and I thought was shitty for journalists to do. But then they were like, well, we don't consider ourselves journalists. And I'm like, but you're still a big platform with people who come to you for information. So don't you owe it to them to be responsible with the information? So no, even Dave, like sometimes, like, we're with this one thing. It's the only thing I've ever been critical on Dave on, because other than that, I love Dave. He's a great guy. But I was just kind of like, ugh, but Dave does. He does say that. He says, have some integrity, and I agree with him. That's exactly right. I heard Patreon got into some legal trouble, so he may dodge a bullet. I'm glad I deleted Patreon. I mean, I see them all the time. Like, they kept popping up in my feed. Once I was on Patreon, I was having fun putting content up there. But then my interactions they died down. Like, at the beginning, people were commenting on videos or podcasts, and then after that, they weren't for like the last 2 months I was on there. And I was just like, well, what's the point? I feed off the interaction. So it's great that people are still listening to this, but without the interaction, I don't want to take people's money if they're not. So here you can watch my show for free, maybe get a couple ads here and there, but it's a free show to watch. And you guys just watching the show, you helped me make, a few hundred, $200 last month, which went towards my rent. So, that's great. It doesn't cost you guys anything except time. And time to me is the most valuable thing. So the fact that you guys, take time to watch the show, it means a lot to me. So that's why when you say congratulations on 2,500 subscribers, I'm like, dude, I can't do this without you guys. So like literally can't do it without you guys. So no, it's all of our victories for that. Will Max and Venom be the last season of Marvel Spider-Man? I was told it was by not an interview, an article, but I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't ask the writers, Doc and Kevin. I think I did, but I don't know if I got an answer from them. So I don't know if it's the final season, but I think it is. I don't know though. Have you watched either Brawl in the Cell? Hey, what's up, dude? Yes. No. Cell Block 99 and Damage. So I have a list of movies I was going through, and then I got rid of all my like Hulu, and Hulu I didn't have, but Netflix and everything and Amazon Prime, I got rid of them after the last time I did a live stream where you told me about those. So I had them on my list, and I think one of them I can rent. But now I have Netflix again. I just got it like a week ago because I'm waiting for Transformers in a couple days. And then Hulu I just got. So if those are on those, I'll look them. Thanks for reminding me here. Let me just write that down again, just so I have it. Because I know I feel bad. Like the thing is, I'm not a big movie watcher, dude. So it sucks because I have friends who recommend movies to me all the time, and I go, oh yeah, cool, I'll watch it. And then like a year later, I'm like, hey, I finally watched that movie, and they're like, what movie? I'm like, yeah, I know, it's been a long time. And Dragged Across Concrete. These are cool titles. So yeah, I apologize, man. I'm not doing it to be a D-bag, I promise. It's just I know we were on COVID and I had time technically to watch movies, but from the move, and then there was a time where I sat down and I was watching some movies, like a movie a night. I watched what was it, the X-Men movies? I rewatched all the X-Men movies. I did one movie a night. I just finished them. I just did Dark Phoenix the other night. So those are all done now, but it's like I don't know. I go through phases, but movies I don't know. Some days I watch them, sometimes I just put them on the background and I go, oh, I watched it, but I didn't. It just sat in the background. But I have not sat down to watch Cell Block 99 or Dragged Across Concrete yet. But I did make a promise to you, so I promise I will get to them, and I will try to do it before the end of the summer. I will do my best, because now I have a new job where I work apparently 10 to 11-hour days. I didn't realize I was signing up for that kind of work, and so now my old ass has to do that. It's like my chest hurts, my legs hurt after a long day. I couldn't speak for one day after my last shift because my throat was torn up because I had to talk all day at the job. So I'll do my best, man. I promise you. I'll keep trying to do my best, but I'll move them up on the list. I'll just put them at the top, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Wouldn't it be cool, but kind of ironic that Woody Harrelson played the Joker in the Robert Pattinson Batman movie? I mean, no. See, the thing is, the one thing I don't like Hollywood does is it seems like there's only like 10 actors. You see them everywhere, and I'm like, come on, guys. Like what's the guy, Troy Baker? He's a voiceover actor. He's good, but I'm like, I don't know. Does he have to be in every video game? Like, dude, I get it. You're trying to make a living, and I don't want to like smash on your success or anything, but like literally give someone else a chance to do something. But yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if I would like Woody Harrelson as Joker, just because he's already playing Carnage. It's kind of like, we're good. Find another actor. There's so many other actors out there. Yeah. Ironic because he played Carnage. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. Just some guy made videos about Tom King. Overall, agreed with him. I mean, yeah, the thing is, I'm not a Comicsgate person at all, but it's weird right now because I'll post about Tom King on Twitter, which I don't normally do that kind of stuff, but I'm really upset about what he did. I mean, he could have, and he might still, we still don't know, that Jay Lee may get less work in the future now. If you go on Twitter and see what comic book pros are saying about Jay Lee, it's awful, dude. It's so awful, and it's in bad taste. What Tom King did was unprofessional, absolutely. We were talking about this. I was talking to a friend of mine recently. I won't talk about those details because it was a private conversation, but we were talking about being a supervisor in a position where you have someone who doesn't feel safe or is offended by what someone else said, and how you have to deal with that as a supervisor. I had to do that at Lego a bunch of times. Sometimes I did a good job at it. Sometimes I didn't. It's hard. It's hard making an impartial decision because you kind of have to as a supervisor. Even if you favor one side or the other, it's really tough. So we were talking about how awful that what Tom King did to Jay Lee, and now if you go online, Tom King has officially apologized. Apparently, I've seen Tom King refuse other people's apologies. So in my opinion, no one should accept his apology. That's just how I feel about it. But I also don't feel like Tom King means it. It felt very generic, the apology. It felt like it was written by an HR person, or at least his hand was guided by an HR person of how to word certain things, which is probably smart for his half because he seems like a guy who only speaks from emotion. So it doesn't sound like he could even write an apology letter if he wanted to. He says he learned the error of his ways, but I don't think he did, because if he did, he would call out people like Tim Doyle and Raymond Villalobos and Mitch Gerard and all these people who continue to say crappy things about Jay Lee. And I think one guy, Tim Doyle, said, I don't believe Jay Lee's dog is actually dead. And if it is, if it really is, I'm glad because he's part of a hate group. And I'm like, okay, we as a society have to pull back on this hate group thing as far as as labeling people, because that really will ruin someone's life. Jay Lee is not a hateful person. That guy, like most comic artists, like Greg Capullo and Tim Seeley, I know he draws sometimes too. And if you could pick any artist in comic books, Jorge Jimenez, these guys don't go on Twitter mostly. They're not online a lot because it takes a writer a day. You see Donnie Cates, he'll fart out a script in like 4 hours for a comic book script, and then he pats himself on the back for it. Someone like Ryan Stegman has to spend an entire month drawing it, waking up every single day, working on it. So no, they are not online all the time. They just aren't. So Jay Lee made a cover in the 90s for what's Ethan's book? Now, here's the thing. I'm not a big Ethan Van Sciver fan, so I'm not trying to defend that guy. I'm not a Comicsgate person, but I wouldn't brand them as a hate group. Like any group, there's shitty people in their group, but I'm not going to label all of them as a hate group because not all of them go online and attack people. Some of them have, but and Comicsgate will probably acknowledge that they have some people that ruin it for the rest of them at times. But it's like the Snyder Group. You can't say they're all one type of thing. It's like police. You can't say they're all one type of thing. White people, black people. You can't say all people are one type of thing. In my opinion, it's an ignorant statement to make because it's never true. Never true. So when I saw the Tom King stuff, I got mad. And so I posted about it a couple times. But now people will see that and go, oh, I didn't know Siike was Comicsgate. And I'm like, but I'm not. I'm not. You watch all of my videos if you want. I'm not a Comicsgate guy. I just don't label them as a hate group because the bad things I've seen some people on Comicsgate do, I've seen the same thing come from comic pros. You've heard me on this show a million times. I describe both sides as children who are fighting over the same toy. And as a parent, you got to send them both to their room. That's how I feel about some people in Comicsgate and some people in the comic book industry. So to me, I'm not, so I haven't watched some guy. I think it played earlier because I was just watching videos about Tom King, about people were saying. So I think one of his videos played earlier, but I wasn't paying attention to it. It was just on while I was like straightening up and cleaning before I did the Jared Bankins podcast. But I just hate that we live in this world where it's like, okay, so because I posted something where I'm being critical of Tom King's behavior because I thought it was unprofessional, someone's going to go, well, you're part of a hate group. And I'm like, then you don't know who I am and you don't get to define who I am. If you don't know me, you can't tell me who I am. You guys know me pretty well. And I would bet that most of you guys would go, are you kidding me? Siike's not a hate group guy. Like he doesn't do stuff like that. He doesn't cover drama. He doesn't. So I either confuse people when I post things like that because they're like, is he on my side or isn't he on my side? Or they just write it down so that one day when I say something that they really don't like, they can go, well, look at the history of Siike. He's always done. And it's like, people are like that. People are petty and evil and mean. And it's like, we are allowed to disagree on stuff. Comicsgate people seem to just want to go make comic books like their way. Whatever, fine. It sucks that their way can't be done in mainstream comics. I feel like comics should be inclusive. That's why I got into comics, was because it made me friends who were not white. Most of my friends that I made through comics were people who felt like outcasts. It was like, my friend Terrence, who was black, my friend Danny, who was from the Philippines, my friend John, who was from China. Like, these were all my friends growing up who got picked on for who they were, but we read comics because it connected us together because we were all nerds who got picked on. And so I don't know, this world and people in it. So when I saw Tim Doyle post, like, I'm glad his dog is dead, I'm like, 4 years ago on Facebook, I posted something that people didn't like, and someone said to me, because my brother had just been beaten up and mugged by like 6 guys outside of a bar. They beat the crap out of him. They broke his knee. He has pins in his knee, and will have trouble walking for the rest of his life. Um, and and he got he got beaten up and left for dead in a parking lot, and luckily was found and was rushed to the hospital. And we did a GoFundMe for him to help pay for the initial medical bills. And people came out of the woodworks, and we were able to raise like $1,600 or something like that, which helped pay the initial bills, which was money my brother didn't have because he is a father who doesn't have custody of his son, so he has to pay child support, and he lives with my mom. Life sometimes isn't fair, right? And it hurts. And my brother was in a bad spot, and people actually came out and said, next time your brother needs help, don't ask us for it. And this was coming from someone who didn't even donate to his GoFundMe. So I'm like, well, what does it matter to you? You didn't even donate the first time. And why are you so mean? What did my brother do to you? Just because I said something you didn't like. And that is when I became aware that I surrounded myself with evil people who were just waiting for you to get too close to an edge so they could push you off of it. And once I realized those were most of my friends in California, I distanced myself, and I got away from them. So I don't think people are fair when you have a different opinion. It sucks. It sucks that we live in a world where we literally can't talk about anything without upsetting each other. I'm not a religious person at all, but I know people are stronger when they're together. I've seen the things humanity has accomplished because I am a history lover, and I've seen the hardships we've gone through and the tough times we've gotten through and the things we've built and created because we did it together. What are we going to accomplish apart? What are we going to, like, this is like the Salem witch trials or something. It's like, it's witch hunters. Everyone's burning people, and most of them are innocent. And then when people on one side have someone in their group do something shitty, they don't call them out for it. So I'll see people in comic pros go, good cops need to call out more bad cops. But yet they're not calling out Tom King's behavior. You have people in Comicsgate saying, we're not a hate group. But then there are some people that take their passion too far and do come across as very hateful and attack people. And you don't have Comicsgate saying shit about those people. Everyone has these people in their group that they protect on some level or don't draw attention to because it disrupts the narrative of who they think they are. And you know who we all are? Shitty people. All of us. Like, we all suck at something, and we all suck at trying to be better. So we should unite in some way in that feeling and learn how to be better from each other. Instead of just going, you screwed up, go away. Like, even now, I don't really want to fully exile Tom King, but he does this thing weekly, comes after somebody. That's not mentally healthy. Like, it is just not. You can't be a grown-up who has to set an example, who writes Batman comics and things. Like, you can't be that person and act the way he does on social media. It's dangerous for yourself and for others. And Jay Lee's learning that fact. Jay Lee had a day where my dog is everything to me. I am an aneurysm survivor. If I have a seizure, he knows how to turn my head over onto its side. He's everything to me. When he dies, if someone says that to me, I'm glad your dog is dead, I'll break your jaw for saying that to me. So yeah, these people are crazy. They're crazy, and no one's calling them out on it. And because I say something critical of it, people will go, oh, Siike, you're part of a hate group. And I go, for trying to be peaceful? Okay, awesome. That's the world we live in. Great. So yeah, drama is draining. Long run for both viewer and YouTuber, no matter how justified. Yeah, I agree. I was reading the comments on the Jay Lee post. People have lost their dang minds if they think Tom King was okay. They're insane. I agree. It's very frustrating. Everyone is trying to bring people down. I'm so sick of seeing it all the time. That's why I'm leaving social media. When people go, why are you leaving? I go, because I believe in people, but I can't when I'm on social media because all I see is them. I see some good. I'm not going to say there's not some good on social media. You guys are some of you guys out there are the best, people. I see your posts and I get so happy. But then I have to dig to look for your posts because there's so much. I just see humans eating other humans. That's it. Just zombies everywhere, programmed by the media and the people in power to hate someone that really isn't that different than them most of the time. It sucks. Yeah, it sucks. I consider myself progressive, but sometimes I think I'm insane because I feel like I don't know, like I'm like, am I? Because I really think about progress, and progress to me is only together. I think about that song, "The River" by by is it Pucifer, a Perfect Circles band, a Tool Maynard's band. I think it's called "The River," the humbling river. And there's a line in that about how this group of people are conquering, going over the mountains, they're conquering land and and sea and everything, but they can't get across this river, so they have to do it together. People that disagree with them, they have to do it together. I don't know. I always think about that song. It's a good song. The world does suck sometimes. People are radical just because someone says something they don't like. They act like they aren't human anymore. These people are inhuman. We're all human. It's even Tom King. I hate what he did this week, but he's a human. He's flawed. He's a human. So I'm not for completely exiling that guy, but someone at DC, someone at HR needs to talk to him about his behavior. Like, that's the thing with companies. It's really hard. They're afraid of the mob coming after them, though. So that's why they're not going to really do anything about Tom King. And you watch, I bet you in time, Jay Lee's artwork, you'll see less and less of it at DC Comics. I bet you. Because everyone's going to remember this. And look at all the pros. They're going to be like, they're going to tell their editors at DC, I don't want Jay Lee's art on my book. Even though Jay didn't do anything wrong. In the 90s, he did a cover for Cyberfrog for Ethan Van Sciver in the 90s. So Ethan was like, hey, man, you did a cover for me on issue 2 or whatever, 3 of Cyberfrog back in the 90s. Would you do a cover for this new issue 2 or 3? We're old friends. We've been in the industry together a long time, for 30 plus years together. Whatever your rate is, which Jay Lee's very expensive to get a cover from him, especially a wraparound cover. So Ethan was like, I'll pay it, man, because you're worth it. You're a great artist. Does that sound like a hate group to you? I don't even like Ethan Van Sciver, but he's hiring Jay Lee to do a cover for him, and he's paying the rate of Jay Lee, like, which is really, it's up there, man. He's expensive dude, but look at the work he delivers. He's one of my favorite artists. That cover from Batman Gotham Knights, where it's Batman freezing and he's like sitting like this, and Mr. Freeze is behind him, and he's got an ice pick, and he has a hammer, and he's gonna chisel Batman open. Like, that's one of the coolest covers of all time. And like I said, Jay Lee drew Inhumans in the mid-90s or late 90s, Marvel Knights with Paul Jenkins, which is arguably the greatest Inhuman story ever told, and something I wanted to make into a movie one day. I got the tattoo because of it. Like, so to me, it's like, and then you're going to put a coworker, whether you agree with them or not, you're going to put his livelihood at risk. People are sending him death threats, like actual death threats. And then there's people, these entitled pricks like Raymond Villalobos and Tim Doyle, who are saying they're glad his dog is dead and that he hopes he never gets work again, and that Jay Lee should apologize for working with Comicsgate. It's like, dude, he's an artist for hire. We're in a pandemic. He found a way to make money. It was with someone he knew from years ago. What is he supposed to be, not a loyal friend? And that's what these guys don't understand. They don't understand about loyalty. The second you do something they don't like, they turn their back on you because they don't care about loyalty. They don't care about having a friend that has a difference or two than them. They want to be part of the Borg. They want to be part of the Phalanx. Like, they want a hive mind. And I'm telling you, you guys are never going to get that, ever. You have to literally be taken over by computers. Like, an actual Borg or Phalanx has to show up to get you to be a real hive mind. Because trust me, as much as you think you guys have in common, you will start to see the less and less of you there are because you're huddling together and cutting everyone else out. You're going to find that you are all different too. And you're going to be different on things that you are going to hate each other over, because that's your trajectory. That's your path. You let your hatred and negative emotions win over logic every time. You're supposed to have emotions. You're supposed to exile real monsters who do real terrible things, like Eric Esquivel. He's a bad person. Raymond Villalobos worked with him, but yet nobody exiled Raymond Villalobos. But now he's trying to exile, Jay Lee because he did something once for Comicsgate. It's like, You did like 10 comic books with a real monster. And you are going to cast a stone at people now? Fuck you, man. Just like big time. You guys are all insane. They are, man. They're just insane. And we are stronger together. You're right. This is exactly what trials are all over again. I wish people would learn from history. Nobody knows history. There was that, what was that? Everyone's tearing down statues right now in America. And there's that statue they were going to tear down of the memorial with Lincoln and the slave who was like rising to his feet. I was educating people on that statue. I'm like, I've been to that statue. You know what's so cool about that statue? That statue was paid for by slaves. Like slaves who got free. And right when they were able to make their first paycheck, they donated some of their money to make that statue, to honor Abraham Lincoln, someone they wanted to credit for helping them be free. And everyone can look at history and say, well, Lincoln had slaves and this person. And yes, everyone has done bad things. That moment was a moment in real progress where they learned from their mistakes and they try to be better. And yes, it still took years and years and years, and still to this day we're fighting for equality on things and real fairness and stuff. There's still struggles we got to go through today, but to do some of the things we do to each other nowadays spits in the face of all those people that came before us that fought and died to make this world better than it was back then. We're just spitting right in their faces, and it's not fair. So I'm telling people, I'm like, you want to tear down statues, fine. This one don't tear it down if you don't like it. If your interpretation of it is different than what the actual meaning of the statue is, maybe it's to today's standards, it's not a fair representation of what was, of Lincoln freeing slaves. Fine. Vote to take it down and put it in a museum so that those slaves who got freed, who paid for that statue to be made, are still remembered in history for doing something like that by preserving it in a museum. But nobody wants that. They just want to tear everything down. It's like, I get it. Some things need to go, but some things don't. We got to turn off the blind hatred, and you got to focus. You got to know your history. But it is the witch hunts all over again. It is. It feels like that. It's scary like that. I mean, I had a friend recently. He thought he was going to get canceled for something he didn't even do. That was a crazy thing. And he was like, I'm losing sleep. He's like, I'm having panic attacks. He's like, I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and my Twitter's going to be exploded. I'm like, you didn't do anything. And he's like, I know. And I go, he's like, someone he knew did or something like that. And I'm like, and I go, but they didn't even do anything bad either. It was just they put out an opinion and people didn't like it. It was literally that simple. I'm like, dude, your friend put out an opinion that some people aren't going to like. Yeah, I wish we lived in a world where a mob wouldn't come for that person. I wish we did live in that world, but for whatever reason we don't. I go, so the best thing you do is still try to be a friend to that person, because they're going to need a friend when the mob comes for them. They're going to need someone to be on their side. So you got to be that person. And I go, and you shouldn't be losing sleep. No one should live in fear that they're going to wake up the next day and be attacked on social media and have their address put out there and being swatted and cops coming to their door. Like, why is that a solution to disagreeing with somebody? I don't get it, man. It's too scary. Well, thank you for agreeing. I'm sure some people don't agree with the words I'm saying. To some people, I sound like a crazy person. I feel like I'm pretty rational and sane, but to someone who disagrees with me, I sound like a crazy person, and that sucks. That's part of why I take a month-long Twitter break as well. Everyone is just trying to hurt each other. I was tired of seeing it. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking when you know people can do better and you have faith in people and they disappoint you daily. So yeah, I don't want to see it anymore either. These people are cowards. They hide behind their screens and wouldn't say despicable. Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, that guy who said that thing to me about my brother, I saw him in person, and I mean, I didn't have anything to prove or anything. I just was like, I'm going to stand right here. He sees me. I see him. If he comes over to me and apologizes, I'll accept his apology, because that's who I am. My dad used to beat me, and when I was a kid, I talked about it before, but I got sexually abused. And it still has an impact on me because those memories started coming back a few years ago. I would still forgive those two, my dad and that other person. I would forgive them. It would be hard, and it's not easy, and I'm not saying everyone's able to do it, but I can't hold on to that hate. I can't. It destroys you. Um, so if that guy came up to me and said, "Hey, what I said about your brother and your mom, I was wrong for saying that. I'm sorry," I would accept their apology, if I felt like they really meant it. And most times people do. Tom King's, I have a hard time believing it because I see his track record of how he acts online, and then when I see him not calling out Tim Doyle, like if I saw Tim Doyle's tweet, I would have been like, as Tom King, I'd have been like, "Hey, please don't say that. Jay's a nice guy. I talked to him. I was in the wrong here. Please don't say something that terrible. That's not how we should act, you know?" But he because he doesn't do that, then I don't, his apology means very little to me. Now maybe he hasn't seen Tim Doyle's tweet yet, but when he does, that's what his response should be. I am a liberal. I am. I am a liberal. I like to think I am. I am. I have, if you break down like, immigration and pro-life or pro-choice, like I fall on liberal sides to most of that stuff. I do. I just do. Because I don't know. It's because I guess I think the best of people mostly. I mean, I've been disappointed in that regard a lot, for sure. I've disappointed myself thinking I could do better, and I haven't. But that's the whole point of growing. That's why Eddie Brock is such a special character to me, and why I like talking about him for 550 episodes now, is because he's a prime example that we can all fuck up and mess up and ruin parts of our lives and ruin our careers and everything. But that doesn't mean we're really bad people. It means that we failed at trying to be good in that moment. But we have another moment coming right up, and now we can do better. That's why Eddie Brock is so awesome. That's why we build this show around him, because he's so great. I think he's one of the most human of comic book characters, because we talked about it on an episode recently on the Parasite podcast. Every comic book character is in a hamster wheel, just like humans are. A lot of us repeat the mistakes of the past because we don't know our history, or we don't learn from our own mistakes. We don't self-analyze ourselves. So we stay on these hamster wheels of behavior. We log in every day to social media because people tell us social media is important, but really all we're doing is we're addicted to the dopamine bursts that we get from getting likes and thumbs up from people. That's all it is. We're really just addicted like an addict would be to alcohol or drugs or anything. That's what social media has done to us. It has brainwashed a lot of us. And so we wake up and the first thing we do is I check our phones. What's on Twitter? What's on Instagram? What's on Facebook? And we're slaves to it. And it's because of those dopamine hits, and we just keep getting them every day. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous way to be. I would rather have a conversation with you guys on a Parasite podcast and talk about the things we love and hate than just like each other's stuff on social media. So that's why I'm leaving social media too. I think it's a good reason to leave, so I can focus more time on here and do more Parasite podcasts with you guys. Companies don't care about that kind of stuff. It's really sad. Companies have a weird role to play. It's really hard. I've worked for companies. I've been in positions where you have to make certain decisions, and I've seen people above me have to make decisions that aren't easy. 100%. Sometimes you agree with them, sometimes you don't. Life is not fair. You do your best. You try to do better the next day. But companies sometimes are in a tough position. So yeah, I see them taking Tom King's side here. They probably told him to issue an apology, make it public. But if I was Tom King, if I was really sorry, I would go one step further and find those tweets that are bad-mouthing Jay Lee, and I would correct, as Tom King, I would say, hey, please don't say that about Jay Lee. He's a good guy. That's what I would do. But I'm a better person than Tom King, so that's why I don't think Tom King will ever do that. And if he does, I'll be happy to be proven wrong. But I feel confident saying I'm a better person than Tom King, because that's what I would do in that situation. Speaking honestly, no, I don't think he's saying that. Left-leaning but believes people shouldn't be shut down just because you disagree with them. So center-left instead of far-left. Yeah, I think I did the whatever it was a couple years ago, like the test to see where you fall on the political spectrum, and I was center-leaning left is a good way to describe me. Absolutely. So I think Pikachu. I think he means that. Like he's talking about some of the things I've said that have that left lean to it, pretty much. But yeah, I don't like shutting people down. So that, I guess that's what he means by I'm liberal, but I'm not like. And the thing is, I never saw it as an extreme before. I used to classify myself as an SJW. If you go back to early Seek and Destroy episodes, I think you'll even see me in a video say like, yeah, I'm an SJW. I'm proud of it because I believe in social justice. I believe in fairness and equality, and and I mean, I do. I still believe in all that stuff. But there is a line and there's a limit. And I think I noticed after people started saying the horrible things they said to me, I realized, oh shit, I've said stuff like this to people online. And surprisingly, some of those people were still my friends, people that I spoke negatively to because of their beliefs. And the first thing I did was went to them and I said, please forgive me. Like, I should have never treated you like that. You're a human being. And even though you don't agree with me, I'm sorry that I went that far. And some of them accept my apologies and some of them didn't. And rightfully so. It's the ones who didn't. And the ones who did are great people who I owe a lot to. But they helped me grow. They helped me learn to listen. So I do listen to some Comicsgate videos. I do listen to some right-leaning news sources. I listen to The Hill a lot, which The Hill is more neutral. They kind of go after Republicans and Democrats. But I think one of the hosts is Republican and one's Democrat, I think. So that's kind of their thing. But they attack both sides pretty equally. And I like that. Like I because that's where I feel I am. I see extremes on both sides. I even see extreme centrists at times. And so because of that, I'm just like, yeah, I don't like being in an extreme situation because it's too cult-like to me. Not exactly, it's not a one-to-one comparison saying it's a cult, but some of the brainwashing and just like keeping people full of hatred, that's a programming technique. And a lot of people seem to just be okay with being mad all the time. And to me, that's just it's a waste of energy, in my opinion. There are things you need to be mad at. So focus your energy, your anger on that, and then leave room for love for the other things, and forgiveness. These people aren't loyal. I've seen my own friends backstab each other over the smallest things. That's how it is, man. That's how it is. By the way, thank you guys for the 18 thumbs up. I know I just rambled for like 20 minutes, so I'm so sorry if I'm catching up on comments now, but I guess I had a lot more to say about that topic than I thought, that I did. Normally I bottle stuff up and I find ways to just release that energy elsewhere. But today I didn't get to play video games with Lonely Symbiote, so that's probably why. Usually when I play video games and I'm killing dragons on Monster Hunter, because we normally stream Monster Hunter on Tuesdays on my gaming channel, I didn't do that today, and I think I'm feeling that. Because I would have just killed dragons and been like, take that, Tom King. And that would have been a healthier way for me to get that energy out. Yeah, left-leaning, but believe people shouldn't be shut down. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm back. Just got done eating dinner. Hey, welcome back, Hotspot. You didn't miss much. Politics is all a butt blast. It is a butt blast, huh? Oops. Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry, Unicycle. Let me I'll leave that comment. I know it says the F word in it, but I said the F word earlier too, so it's fine. I don't think I monetize these live streams, so it doesn't matter. I agree, though, political position shouldn't matter in the case with Tom King's actions. No, they don't. That's what I'm saying is like they don't really. His actions are his actions. His actions were based off politics. He in his mind, and a lot of people who work in comic books, they see Comicsgate as a group full of far right-leaning people who just terrorize, left-leaning people. But that's not true. I know Democrats that are in Comicsgate. I know people of all different races in Comicsgate, women in Comicsgate, gay people in Comicsgate, LGBTQA in Comicsgate. But what sucks is I see this in politics too. When someone who's black and Republican comes out and says, I'm black and Republican, you have these people on this side calling them the most awful names. And I'm just like, look, man, you can just say, hey, fine, go be a stupid Republican or something. Like, say something else. Like, but I see these horribly racist things said, and I just can't wrap my head around it. I could never bring myself to call somebody the names I see black Republicans being called online. I don't agree with what, with, who they're voting for. I don't agree, but I don't think that makes them bad people either. Um, I don't know. Some people hate hearing that, but I don't know. I feel like still inside where we stand on things. Like, unless you just stand for the cold-blooded murder of everyone around you, um, I feel like you're mostly a good person, and you try to be a good person, and that's all that matters, man. You just got, as long as you try. That's the one thing I don't think parents tell their kids enough, is that, one, it's okay to fail, because you'll just learn from it, right? So just, it's okay. You failed. No big deal. Accept it. You'll do better next time. Like my nephew right now, when he plays video games and he loses, he pitches a fit. He screams, he throws things, he lashes out. And I know we all go through that phase where we have that reaction to video games where we're pissed off because we're like, no, I press this button, or whatever. I totally get it. So some of it's just that. But also he does say, like, I don't like losing. And that's one of those things where you have to sit him down and say, like, look, man, it's okay to lose. It's part of life. You got to lose sometimes, because it makes victory, the times you win, that much more rewarding. It's like, that's just how it is. I know we live in an age where we just hand out participation trophies, but I grew up in a time where that wasn't a thing. Like, there was a lot of trophies I didn't win. I had asthma, and I played sports, and it was hard for me to do all those. But I wanted to, because my hero was Jackie Joyner Kersey, who was a track runner, black lady, badass lady, super badass. And if you don't know who she is, look her up. She was so awesome, and she had asthma, and she ran track, and she was awesome at it. And I remember being like, oh man, she can do it, I can do it. And I played so many sports and failed at so many sports. But every time I won a trophy, I was like, hell yeah. I won this because of all the times I didn't win. And it wasn't like a karma thing or nothing. It was because I learned, looking at myself, the things I did wrong that didn't lead to victory, and I changed them. I got off my hamster wheel. And I think we all kind of forgot how to do that. And that's why I like Eddie Brock, and we talk about that, is that he's a character who has jumped off his own hamster wheel and is just constantly moving forward in comics with new big things happening to him all the time. This is a different world. Ever since Eddie came back, he just keeps moving forward. It's amazing. So amazing. Those who refuse to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. That's right. These are children who were doxxed and their parents fired. It was the wrong kid too. That I've seen that happen. I've seen people doxxed and jobs, fired, got fired, and they weren't even the person that they were, but because the mob was just told, hey, that's why when I see on Twitter, someone will go, hey, this person said something like awful, Twitter, do your thing. I don't do anything at first. I'm like, look, if I'm interested in, if it sounds like a really bad thing that person did, I'll go to that person's Twitter page and actually look and do the research. But nobody does. They just go, okay, and then they just start tagging that person. And it leads to suicides and all these things. And then I'll see people actually say, well, I'm glad they killed themselves because they were a bad person. It's like, courts have to decide that. Like, we have a process of things. Like, we're not all Judge Dreads, but that's how Twitter acts. They act like that, and then they act like, and then people about Jay Lee, they were like, how can you not know what Comicsgate is? I'm like, that guy draws. You think his artwork is easy to do? Like, he has to draw all the time. Like, he's got to spend every waking moment drawing it. So, like, no, he probably doesn't know what the hell's going on Twitter. He doesn't even have a Twitter account. So, yeah. Yeah. You guys are right. You are sane, Siike, don't worry. I mean, well, we can debate that, but I mean, the thing that sucks is, like, I have brain damage, so I have comprehension problems. So there are literally times where I go, am I just not comprehending this properly? I feel like locked in a box sometimes. Like, I'm just like, am I connecting the wrong dots? Am I, and then it makes it even more heartbreaking when someone says, no, you're sane. You actually sound pretty reasonable with your view on this particular thing. I'm like, well, that sucks, because I spent 2 days without sleeping because my comprehension skills couldn't get over a hump for me to connect other dots, to think of other possibilities, and it kept me up for like 2 days straight. And then it's like, yeah, it sucks. Um, don't be sorry for. I mean, it's nice of you to say. You said you're sorry for what happened to me. I said this on Dan Harmon's podcast all the time. Whatever happens to you, chances are someone else has it way worse. So you try to think of things in that term to help you deal with it better. So yeah, I'm sorry things like that happen to anybody, and I appreciate your words. But like I said, I've gotten to a place in my life where I would probably forgive, like I said, my dad and that person for what they've done to me. I'm not going to forgive them for what they did to my mom and my brother, though, or my dad at least, not the other person. But what my dad did to my mom and my brother is unforgivable because I love them more than I love myself. But me, I'm like, I could forgive them for that because I feel like I've came out a pretty decent human. Like, considering all that happened to me, I was, I did drugs when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, ecstasy. You can look up, I think you can look it up. There was like a big bust in Atlanta in like 2001 about ecstasy. So like, because I used to go to raves all the time and stuff. So they would bust apart raves and stuff like that. So it was like, and then my aneurysm, the one that ruptured, and then the couple after that, it's like, yeah, I've been through a lot for 38 years of existence, but I'm still here, and I still try every day to do better. I do screw up sometimes. I screw up at relationships. I screw up at friendships. I let people down. It's like, and I don't intend to do any of that. It's never my intention to wake up and go, who can I screw over today? Who can I do? And I don't believe anyone really wakes up feeling that way, except for a few scumbags that are out there for sure. But most people, I feel like, don't wake up that way. Although Tom King, I feel like, does wake up that way, in my opinion. Siike, I'm honestly so sorry. You're very strong. You guys are not. Thank you very much. You're very nice. Thank you, Carnage. Thank you, Pikachu. Thank you, Swordsman. I count you guys as friends too, man. It was so great having some of you on. Pikachu and Let's Talk Carnage. If you guys ever want to come on the Parasite Podcast, send me an email, theparasitepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys for the 19 thumbs up. Let me keep catching up on comments here. I love Eddie's redemption arc as well. We can relate to him on some level. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, Eddie is a great example of don't beat yourself up too much when you screw up. Like, as long as if you're Eric Esquivel and you're hurting women and stuff, you're a piece of shit, and you shouldn't work in comics anymore. You shouldn't have a career like that. You should go, work, be a greeter at Walmart or something. And I'm not saying that as like a down thing. I'm just saying go work, because I'll do that job. Like, I actually applied for that job recently. Just go work a job where you're distant from people in that way, and where you can understand things. Like I feel like when you work in retail, because you have to work in customer service, you learn to treat people better, and you learn to be patient with people when they're angry with you. So that's why that was my favorite thing about Lego, was I learned how patient I could be with people. And then I started applying that to the show here, and I think it's helped me improve myself in some aspects. Absolutely. Today's Nation Milk Chocolate Day. No, National Milk Chocolate Day? What? I love chocolate milk. Hope everyone has Snickers. It's Milk Chocolate Day. Oh, okay. Appease your inner symbiote. Do I have any chocolate in the fridge? I don't think I do. Dang it. Oh, that's awesome though. Milk Chocolate Day. I didn't know that was a thing. I love chocolate milk. I haven't had any in a while. I should get some. When I took the test, I got center right. Personally, I like Tucker Carlson or Steve Crowder and Sargon, Tim Pool or Dave Rubin for left sources. Yeah, it's funny. Tim Pool says he's left, and I know he does land on some policy issues like I do, but his videos don't scream very left to me. Like, his videos to me, like, I can watch some of them and some of I can't, because Tim Pool comes across as a real whiny bitch, actually, to me. He just does. Like, I think was it John Doerr? I can't remember his name. He's like an older guy. he's okay. I watch him sometimes, but like Tim Pool, he's just kind of a whiny bitch. He just comes on. I told you this was gonna happen. You know, the far left are doing this. You know, and it's like, okay, dude. Every video opens. I told you this was gonna happen. Like he's some kind of like futurist or something. It's like, dude, it's not hard to predict human behavior. I even told my mom before COVID took over, like when it first started, I said, "Oh, people are going to be rioting. It's going to get crazy." And my mom was like, "Well, then you better get out of LA." And then I did, and then soon after, it's like that's all that stuff happened, and over different reasons than what I thought it was going to happen. But still, it's like, but I didn't sit there patting myself on the back going, "I called it. I called it." It's like, why would you celebrate calling out bad behavior and stuff? So yeah, I don't know. So Tim Pool sometimes just comes he's this really whiny bitch to me. But whatever. Yeah, he's kind of left leaning. He's left leaning. Although he's left leaning, but he's going to vote for Donald Trump, I think. So, which I see people saying that too. Good for him to have the guts to say that, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to go crucify him now for saying that. Hey, what's up, Bruce McDonald? How's it going? How's it going, dude? Darn, I wish I had some money. I would love to eat some chocolate. Yeah, me too, man. It's a two-way street. It is a two-way street. Eddie Brock really is the most human character in Marvel. He really is, man. He really is. I love that about him. Yeah, I agree. He's crown achievement in Marvel style compared to DC's idolized style. That's true. Show your nephew Talladega Nights. If you're not first, you're last. Dude, I love that movie. He's a little too young for that. But yeah, when he's a little older, maybe. I love that movie though. He went from another villain obsessed with destroying Spider-Man to protecting others. He's he's like a single father now. Like I remember when they did that with Sandman, when they gave him a daughter. I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I like that. Helps the character grow. Yeah, let's see. Congrats. Hey, thank you, Marvel. What's up, dude? I have autism, so you're not alone. Hey, well, thank you for being here, and thanks for sharing that with us, man. Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes you have that problem, right, where you feel, I don't know how to describe it. How do you describe it? Like, I don't know. It's the gross isn't the word. It's like but it's like, how do I, is there something wrong with me for not feeling the way you feel? And sometimes you get stuck in that loop in your head. I smoked weed and drank, and I turned 20 next month. Again, you're not alone. Well, keep, I mean, I don't know. That's up to you. You decide whether that's if you do too much of that or whatever. That's only you can really decide that, or people who love you. So I will say, when people come to you and try to help you, take my advice and listen to them, because it's hard either way. It's going to be harder when you don't listen to them, though. Trust me. So just do yourself a favor and listen to them. Venom's back in the Ultimate Comics. Hey, here we go. Well, Venom's not in the Ultimate Comics universe. Venom is in the distant future. If you read that comic book, issue 26 of Venom, you'll see that they went to a different place. Him and Dylan, they went to a different place than the Maker. The Maker went to the Ultimate Universe, but the Maker said, as he went through, he said, something's wrong with my machine. And then he went through normally, and then the other two got sucked in, and they went to a different place. So they're not there yet. But the suit though on the Maker is in the Ultimate Universe. So you're right about that, because the Maker does have the Ultimate Venom suit, which is cool. I thought that was awesome. Any news on Venom 2? Not right now. There's not. Not any that I'm gonna share anyway. As a worker at Walmart, I totally get what you're saying. Hey, there you go. Bruce, what's up, man? Yeah, so like I applied recently to Walmart, Target. When I started at Lego, I was a greeter at Lego. Like, it's like sometimes you need that distance. That's what I looked at as. I was like, I'm going to go work a regular job, because comics is not a regular job. It's a tough business, and it's there's a lot of wonderful people. I've had experience with wonderful people in comics, but there are some that suck, and it's just every group has them. And unfortunately, the people who suck are usually the loudest, and they ruin it for everybody. And it's crappy. It just really is. But I knew a lot of wonderful people in comic books. That's why I wanted to work in an industry so badly, was because of guys like Ryan Cady and Sean Cheeks Galloway and Livio Ramondelli and and Louise Simonson. She's still one of my favorite writers to this day. Like Anna Senti. Like, I've had nothing but good experiences with a lot of these people. So it's but I realized that there wasn't a place for me in comics, because people just didn't like how I thought sometimes. So I was like, well, then I guess I'll just go work a regular job, because if I can't work in comics, which is the one thing I wanted to do my whole life, and I got to do for a couple years, I'm like, if I can't work here because people don't like me, then And and at that point, I also wasn't doing a great job at certain things. So I felt like, maybe I should distance myself, learn more about selling, learn more about how to make money for a company. And maybe then I could go back to comics and then I just never went back. Um, but yeah, I hate that I don't make comics. I wish that was my profession. I do. But it's not. And so instead of being bitter about it, I said, well, what can I contribute to the comic book world? And look, worked out 10 times better. I get to do this great show with all these great people. And we're at 2,500 subscribers and 550 episodes. So that's something I would have never hit in 550 issues of a comic book. Like, no matter how prolific I was at writing, I would have never in this amount of time hit 550 issues of a comic. But I could a show, and it's been great. It's been really great with you guys. Let's see. Pikachu's laughing. Do you mean Venom 26? Is there another comic involving Venom and the Ultimate Universe? I think he just means that one. Show off in my egocentric show off, in my opinion, on Tim Pool. Yeah, he's a little bit of a show off. Yeah, he pats himself on the back a lot. It's self-congratulatory. Yeah, Tim Pool is whiny. People even complain about it on the comment section. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad person because of it. He in a lot of his episodes, he whines about things, and he sounds very, like, I have a high-pitched Charlie Day kind of whiny voice, so I try my best not to whine. Like, I complain about stuff, but I try not to whine, because my voice makes me sound whinier. And Tim Pool's like that. He has a register that's kind of like mine. So when he whines, he really whines, and you're like, I can't listen. Yeah, please tell me Sandman's daughter's name was Sandra. I don't think it was, actually. Venom 26. Yeah, there you go. 99% of what they are, they're in the 2990 universe. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that. Could be. It could be, absolutely. I feel like I couldn't relate. I communicate on a human level with others as well as don't have mental condition like me. I too have autism and ADHD. Yeah, see? So it's like, it is. There's times where you struggle with connecting dots with people. And me, like, the biggest thing people told me in the beginning was, like, there was a couple people I worked with when I had my first job back in LA where I was like, way too nice to some people and I was really mean to other people, and it was nothing I was controlling. I just noticed it was in my tone every time I was around them, and I don't know what it was, but I think in the beginning, like, because remember I had to relearn to walk and talk after my aneurysm, so I had these moments where I'm just like angry a lot around certain people, but it had nothing to do with them really. At least I didn't think it did. But I didn't realize I was treating people that way. So there was a girl I worked with named Katie, I think, and someone was like, "Hey, you've been really mean to Katie lately." And I go, "Have I?" Like, there's an emotional disconnect because of the damage. So, and that's not to say it's an excuse. Like, it was a reason on some level why I probably treated her like that. I mean, sometimes I probably really did. We probably really didn't agree on stuff, work-related stuff. But some of it I don't think was my fault or her fault at all. And so it's a bummer, So after that became aware to me by other people, I tried to work on that so that I can try to show more emotions. So when I first started going to Harmontown, I felt more like I was more of a clean slate. Like I talked almost sociopathically in a way, because it was like my pitch didn't go up that much. Like, I just kind of was a little deadpan, because I was trying to figure out how to be around people still without upsetting anyone. Because that was the one thing I noticed was sometimes I was upset people. I'd upset my mom. I would upset, other people, my brother, friends, friends of mine in South Carolina. So I wanted to change that. And so I had to work on that. And it took me years to do it. And then it took me doing the Nerd Nation podcast with my friend Gene. That helped me a lot, helped me be more cheerful and at least emote better. And then talking to Dan more helped me open up more emotionally. And then doing my own YouTube show helped me out. So yeah, it's stepping stones, like rebuilding ourselves every day. Is it funny that the Eddie from the 2017 Spider cartoon kind of looks like a cartoon Channing Tatum? He does, doesn't he? He does a little bit. Yeah, he does. What was that? What was the there's also the Spider-Man comic that we talked about, Marvel Action from IDW, which that one had Eddie in it, and he's like really thin. He's got like he's like a swimmer's body, tight shirt, thin waist, big pecs, and he's got like a bro haircut. But yeah, that was kind of funny too. That version of him, because it doesn't really look like Tom Hardy, but it feels like that's what they were trying to go for. But they drew Tom Hardy like almost like an Abercrombie and Fitch model. So yeah, it's kind of funny. It's funny. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that already. I wanted not to come off as very emotional and childlike to others, but it's challenging as I couldn't get out of my comfort zone of who I am. I struggle to understand and comprehend things that I find overwhelming to process and respond effectively. That's exactly what it is. It's like, for example, currently at work, we have a system where we go in at 9 o'clock, but the place I work at doesn't officially open till 10. So we go in at 9, and then we just kind of stand around for an hour. And to me, that doesn't, as a former supervisor and someone who understands scheduling and stuff, it doesn't seem conducive to a business to pay people to stand around. So my suggestion when I go in tomorrow is I'm going to say, hey, can we start at 10? Like maybe we'll come in at 9:30 or 9:45, get here early. But at 10, we go to our stations, and then we work 10 to 6, because in that way, that's an 8-hour day. Saying working 9 to 6 is a 9-hour day, and that hour you're getting paid really to do nothing. You're not making any money in that hour. So it seems silly to come in at that hour, because there's not a lot of opening duties, and even the few that you have, you can do it right at 10, when the area opens up, because no one's rushing to come to do the things that we work on. So I don't know. So it's just a suggestion thing I'm going to make tomorrow. And I'm sure they're probably going to be like, dude, we've tried that before. It doesn't work. And I'll be like, okay, cool, foot and mouth. But because I can't understand the logic, I didn't know how to respond. So the other day at work, I asked him, I said, am I being punished for doing well? Because I was making good money on Saturday. I was at my booth for like 9 hours roughly, minus a 30-minute lunch. And 9.5 hours minus a 30-minute lunch, and I made like $850 in that time. So I was making about $100 an hour, and I was killing it, man. I was doing a good job, but it took a lot out of me. And you can bet I looked like a sweaty mess at the end of the day, because I was standing out in the sun all day. My voice was almost gone, and I smelled like garbage. And the thing is, I had deodorant and stuff, but I had nowhere to just go disappear to and put it on. It's like, so I got to work out a better system. It was only my 3rd day, so I got to figure it out. But maybe I can talk about scheduling, and maybe that can help me out a little bit more. So I feel like don't ever be shy to make suggestions, because maybe they've tried it before at your job, but still, I feel like if you have a good suggestion, a good idea comes from anywhere. So maybe I can help them save a few dollars and give me a little less stress, so I don't have to work like another 10, 11-hour workday. Because that was just hard for me, because I've been on quarantine for like 3.5 months. So it's like I've been sitting around being fat and lazy. So to stand for 11.5 hours talking and moving, it's like, or 11 hours, that's a lot to do on your after 3 months of doing nothing. So yeah, I get it. They were definitely going for the Tom Hardy look in Marvel Adventures. Yeah, definitely. What's Marvel Adventures? You don't mind me asking. It's like this cool little IDW book. We did reviews on them. Issues 10, 11, and 12 was a version of Venom that was very much like the movie version of Venom. And he fought Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus, Spider-Gwen, and Miles Morales. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It's a fun book. It's a kid's book, but they're fun. I think the trade paperback is out right now. Marvel Adventures, or Marvel Action, I think it's called. Spider-Man Volume 4. I think that's out right now for $10. Buy it. It's so good. It's worth the read. Hey, great ones. How's it going? You're not alone. I also have ADHD. Hey, Skullman. Also Skullman. And by the way, I still get those movies from you, dude. So don't worry. Brawling in Cell Block 99 and Dragged Across Concrete. I'm going to try to squeeze those in. I'll look them up this weekend when I get home from work, and maybe it'll be good movies to watch Saturday and Sunday night, because when I get home from work after like an 11-hour day, I usually just I drink like a daiquiri sometimes, or sometimes I just make a frozen slushy Arnold Palmer. I'll make like an Arnold Palmer, and I'll put it in the freezer, and I'll slush it up, I just like that. I like the texture of slushies. So to do like a sweet tea lemonade one, it's like tastes really good. So I might just sit, take a shower, walk Echo, and watch one of those movies Saturday and watch one Sunday. So I'll get to them. Yeah, Marvel Action. That's what it's, yeah, that's great. You're welcome. Also, does Cletus look like the type of person that would watch Beavis and Butthead? I feel like, no. It's hard to say. It depends. Like he's not a Ted Bundy serial killer. I don't feel like Ted Bundy did normal people things, and killed people. So Cletus doesn't. He was too manic for that. So he's too like Hannibal Lecter. So I feel like he's read books on stuff like Hannibal Lecter has, but he's not a TV watcher. I don't think. Yeah, Marvel HQ. We did a panel reaction the other day, if you saw, from San Diego Comic-Con, and it was not good. Their panel was not very good. But we did do a draw along with Venom, and that was kind of fun. So I don't know if you guys saw it was like a guy doing animated Venom drawing. So he was like doing real simple circles and stuff. So this is mine, how it turned out. It looks a little bit like how his turned out. That's not normally how I would draw Venom, but I was just kind of going through his instructions. So we were doing that. That was a lot of fun. But then after that, the panel went right downhill. They were saying, oh, there's Maximum Venom stuff in this panel. But all they showed was the Felicia Day video where she talked about playing Mary Jane, which is already up on the Marvel HQ channel. So we were like, what? That's the Maximum Venom thing? Is just this 2-minute clip with Felicia Day? I'm like, we already made videos on that. So then we just, the panel review or discussion just turned into a chat between us. So kind of like how it is now, where we just all chatted. Yeah, it makes if it makes you feel better, some famous people also have the same issues we have. Dan Aykroyd, who played Ray Stantz in Ghostbusters, has Asperger's and Tourette's. I didn't know that about him. I know that he believes in ghosts, which that surprised me. Someone told me that. Well, I think I saw that on Red Letter Media. That's one of my favorite YouTube channels, and I think I saw it on their channel, and I was like, wait, he really believes in ghosts? I didn't know that, actually. And then my friend Nathan, who's a big Ghostbuster fan who lives here in Florida, he was telling me, he's like, dude, you should read the original draft of Ghostbusters. It's like a serious movie. It's not a comedy at all. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't know that. But I didn't know he had Asperger's and Tourette's. It's crazy. I didn't know that. He has a vodka that he makes. It's in like a skull, a glass. It looks cool. I don't drink vodka, but it looks cool. I think so. The name sounds familiar. Yeah, Marvel HQ is just that channel that I talk about sometimes. Excuse me. We've plugged them a few times on the channel. I went to slightly lick my lips, but my mouth is so dry that my tongue just rolled out of my mouth. So I apologize. That was too much tongue for you guys. I'm gonna get demonetized now. I don't monetize the live streams anyway, but YouTube channel, mostly Marvel shorts for kids. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, San Diego is pretty boring this year. I saw a lot of people feel that way. So here's the thing: is I didn't get to experience Comic-Con that much this year, and you would be surprised to hear that because I made like 5 videos on Comic-Con, and I think I have a couple more that I'm going to be uploading this week and next week. I'm just not in a rush to do them. But I also have an article going up that I'm going to finish after this live stream, and which is going to go on for another 20 minutes probably. So I plan to do a 2-hour live stream. So hopefully you guys are down for another 20 minutes or so. So anyway, so with Comic-Con, I actually had to work so much on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I slept most of the day, and then I just woke up to write one article, and then I did one video, and then I talked to my friend on the phone for a little bit, and then I went back to bed. Like I was completely out of it. So so to me, yeah, I'm not. I saw all these people saying how boring Comic-Con was, and I'm like, well, it's just pre-recorded panels, so I don't know what people were expecting. So, but the panels I watched, only one of them I thought sucked. The others I thought were great. I thought they had great information in them. I really liked hearing Scott Snyder talk about and Greg Capullo talk about death metal. I thought that was fun in the DC Day 2 panel. I thought the beginning of that panel though sucked with Bendis and everyone talking about Superman. I was like, wow, these guys. You know what I noticed? We were talking about Jerry Duggan, who is the writer of Savage Avengers, which, by the way, there's a Savage Avengers Empire book coming out this week. I'm debating on whether I buy it or not. I think I'm just going to wait for the trade, and I'll buy it on sale on Comixology. But apparently it's Conan and Venom teaming up in the Empire storyline. And I'm like, well, we were promised that already in Savage Avengers from Jerry Duggan, and we never really got it. Venom was in the first couple issues, and that was it. So I don't know if they're ever going to finish that story or not. But maybe this is Jerry finally finishing it. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think I'm going to buy it because I don't want to pay. But $5 for a book, because now a lot of Marvel books and DC books are $4.99 now, which is so stupid. I think the digital versions are $3.99, but the printed are $4.99. Anyway, so I was watching these panels. Jerry Duggan does not sound like he likes his job. Kelly Sue DeConnick doesn't sound like she knows what her job is. I was watching all these comic book writers. Teenie Howard, I don't know who she is, but I really loved her energy. I think she's writing 10 of Swords coming up, the X-Men event. She was really enthusiastic. Oh, we're going to do that. Like, she had this. My friend Alex told me about it, so I went and watched the panel, and he was right. She was very enthusiastic about her work. I love seeing people who just have a passion for what they do. Cut to Jerry Duggan. Well, in the next issue of this, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then it's going to have an event that has this happen. That's Jerry Duggan's interview. And I understand a lot of people are introverted and stuff. And this isn't me picking on the guy because I know him and he's a nice guy. He's always nice to me. And I know that sound mean what I did there. Who knows? Maybe he was tired, whatever. A million reasons he could act that way. But you're on a panel. That's when you should bring your energy. You should bring your enthusiasm. You should bring your passion. And just because you don't always show it doesn't mean you don't have it. So I understand that. But it was just like hearing him talk. I'm like, okay. Like I lost interest. And I feel bad because I want to support the guy and read what he writes because he's been nice to me all these years. But when I heard him in that thing, I was just kind of like when I interviewed him on the channel, he was great. He was like, yeah, we're going to do. And I was like, where's that guy, man? Like, I know he's in there. So maybe he was just having a bad day. But he didn't bother me that much with how he was just kind of talking. Like, he just kind of just was low energy. Kelly Sue DeConnick, though, they ask her, like, hey, what's happening on Aquaman? And she stalls for like 8 minutes because she can't remember what issue's coming out or what issue is out. And then the guy, the moderator, is her editor, and he's like, well, I have issue 61 right here. So do you remember what happened in issue 60? And she's like, yeah, I guess we're about to start a new arc in a way. And you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, and then there was like moments of silence, and then people were like, well, should I talk or is she gonna talk? And then she would chime back in, and I was just like, get your crap together. Like, this is your moment to tell people, oh, Aquaman, yeah, dude, we're gonna bring the hook hand back, and we're gonna have him save his son, and we're gonna have like a rock fall into the ocean, and then there's gonna be this like underground, this under the water volcano that's gonna go off, and it's gonna burn half the land. Like, get into it, man. Like, this is your freaking job. You get to write Aquaman like for a living. Are you kidding me? Like, show some enthusiasm. So there was a lot of that. I watched a lot of panels, and people were not enthusiastic about their work, and it just bummed me out. So some of the panels I watched, the 2 or 3 of them were really boring, but some I watched, I was so entranced by the information that even if they were reading it, like David Goyer's interview, he didn't show a ton of emotion. Like, he wasn't like, zippity, and he's not like a Kevin Smith guy. Not a lot of people are. Kevin Smith's a little too much energy for me sometimes, so that I look for the middle ground. But I think Goyer was at least talking about things that I was interested in. He talked about how his original version of the Crow City of Angels and what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it about a girl who was a victim of Jack the Ripper, and she was going to come back because she was pregnant, and she was going to come back and get revenge on Jack the Ripper. I was like, that's freaking cool. And then the studio made him, do the movie that ended up coming out. He talked about Blade and how it got harder to make Blade movies because after the first one, it was a huge success. So when they made the second one, there was more executives in the room. And then when they made the third one, there was even more executives in the room. Same with Batman, the Nolan movies. And then he talked about Superman and stuff. And, and I do not like Man of Steel or Batman vs. Superman. But my article about the Goyer interview, because I'm doing an article on Goyer for my friend Andy for the Flash podcast. And the crux of my my article is going to be about how Goyer took risks. Him and Snyder took risks. They chose to have Clark Kent not save his father from the tornado. They chose to have Clark Kent or Superman snap Zod's neck. These are things that I hated in that movie so much, but I respect them for being risks as well. And it's not a risk that paid off because although there are fans of those movies, they didn't make as much money as they should have made. Although I think Man of Steel did pretty good, but Batman vs. Superman, I know people want to fight me on it all the time, but that movie should have made $1 billion. It's Batman and Superman. Just on the name alone, it should have. But because it had bad word of mouth, it didn't. It lost steam after the first weekend. So, and it's a shame because it's not that bad of a movie, actually. I'm just not a big fan of those 2 movies. But I am intrigued to see what Zack Snyder does with his Justice League, for sure. And I don't hate the fandom of Snyder Cut fans. They've done a lot of good, and I feel like every time they get a news article written about them, it talks about how they're these weird right-leaning psychopaths, and I'm like they're branded like Comicsgate are, and I'm like, But that's not true. Dave Film Junkie's not a crazy right-leaning psychopath. It's like, and neither are most of the people in the Snyder Cut fandom. Like, it's just weird to me. I'm like, they raised money for suicide, like awareness and stuff. Like, they did good things with their fandom. Like, yes, there are shitty people in their fandom. They'll even tell you that. They'll even tell you that. Every fandom has shitty people, but they get branded because of the acts of the few. And it's so weird. That's the world we live in. A few cops, do like, let's say 10% of cops are shitheads. Unfortunately, now everyone thinks cops, like 100% cops, are evil because of 10%. And then people think in the Snyder Cut, 10% of them are bad, so all of them must be bad. 10% of comics are bad, all of them must be bad. 10% of the people in the comic industry are bad, but all of them must be bad. It's like, why are we going off this 10% thing? Like, can't we just say 10% of them? I know that's not the exact number, I'm just as an example, but it's like, why is it all? It's weird. I never thought we lived in a black and white world. Not once in my life did I think it was one or the other. Ever. I never thought that about humanity. So I just don't understand why people who are older than me, even like Tom King and all these people, why they feel that we live in a black and white world. It's like, we don't. There are nuances to everything. There is gray to everything. We are all gray. We actually aren't one side or the other. We, day by day, we make mistakes. So we can't ever be pure good and pure evil. There are some people that are. They go that far that are too pure evil. I don't think there's anyone outside of like Mother Teresa or something that's pure good. But there's a lot of pure evil out there. Like or some pure evil. But most of us are just in the gray, man. We exist in the gray. So it's like all these people are embarrassed to be gray. They're just like, no, get it off me, get it off me. It's like, why? This is what evolution does. We're all going to eventually, cross-pollinate, and eventually we're all going to be a very similar race color at some point. We're all going to be looking alike. And God forbid that day comes, because then we're going to really have to hate each other on things we don't like. So maybe this is just society getting ready for that. But it's like, to me, it's like, no, come on, man. It's just crazy. I bet if Sony joined, we would have gotten something new from Morbius. Yeah, probably. I'm kind of, I'm not really surprised Sony didn't show up, but I'm kind of surprised they didn't release a trailer. Actually, if you look at the numbers, so Comic-Con was considered a bust because of the views, mostly. So when people say it's boring or it didn't do well, they're mainly talking about the numbers for the views on YouTube. I think the most watched panel was New Mutants. So congratulations, New Mutants. Even though it only has like 300,000 views, which that's a lot. I mean, on my channel, I don't have 300,000 views on any of my videos. But for them, it's low, because if they would have just, when they released the trailer, that already had like, 500,000 views or something like that. So to me, it's like, that's not great numbers compared to that, but at least they get to walk out of Comic-Con saying, hey, we had the most views on our panel. So good for them. I want that movie to come out. Marvel Entertainment needs more symbiote invasion bonding with more characters. Yeah, I'm all for that, man. More symbiotes for sure. You mean cartoons? Gotcha. Speaking of, I think some Ghostbusters content would be a great way to boost your channel and gain new subscribers. But that depends if you are a diehard fan. I am not a Ghostbuster fan. That surprises a lot of people. I grew up watching them. I mean, I was definitely old enough. I saw both of them in the theaters. I do not like the Ghostbusters. I don't hate the movies. I love Bill Murray, and I think my favorite Ghostbuster is Winston. He always has been, because it's Ernie Hudson. And I've always been an Ernie Hudson fan. When he went and did The Crow, I was like, dude, it's Winston. It's my favorite Ghostbuster. so I'm a Winston fan. And so I don't know. To me, he was great, because he was kind of had an everyman kind of quality. The other dudes they were kind of everyman in a way, but they were kind of smart in different areas and stuff. And Winston, he was people smart. What I like. That's what I liked about him. He reminded me of my grandpa, my grandpa's very people smart. Comes from hard work background and stuff. So Winston I always liked, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of those movies. So I don't know if I'll probably go see the Paul Rudd one when it comes out and review it for the Seek and Destroy show, but that's the extent of it. I'm a much bigger, as far as 80s go, I'm a much bigger Ninja Turtles fan. So you would probably see more Ninja Turtle content from me way before you see any Ghostbuster stuff from me. Most likely. Savage Avengers was a lie, just like Cake. It was, yes. Is that from Portal? The Cake is a lie? That's so good. Now I'm talking news-wise, it was boring. Yeah, news-wise was boring. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting when I saw the list of all the panels, I was like, yeah, I mean, come on. There's I think people had their hopes too high. It's like if you just look at all the panels, I knew going in like there's not going to be anything here, which is why I found myself surprised. I love the McFarlane toys that were revealed. Everyone got bummed. They were like, "Oh, it's all Batman characters." I'm like, I don't care. Like Batman is the one thing at DC that consistently makes money. So shit, yeah, make more Batman stuff. By the way, I did a trailer review for Batman Death in the Family, and I will edit that tonight, and I'll try to have it up tomorrow when I'm at work. I'll try to schedule it to post tomorrow while I'm at work. And I also have a Death Metal 2 review. I'll try to make those videos go up tomorrow while I'm at work for you guys. But yeah, I did a review. They're doing a choose your own adventure interactive animated movie with Batman Death in the Family. So you can choose whether Jason Todd lives or dies while you're watching a movie. And whatever you choose has an outcome to where something different happens to Jason and you get to watch a different branch of the animated movie. How cool is that? Like, I'm so pumped. I voted to save that kid and it didn't work. So now I can literally, with my remote, save him with one click. And I can see what happens to him if Batman actually saves him. So you get three choices. Either he dies, Batman saves him, or he gets caught in the explosion and crawls out still alive. And so you have those three choices. And then throughout the movie, I guess you get one or two different choices here and there. So it's like, is Jason going to kill Two-Face or is he going to not kill Two-Face? Is he going to, kill Black Mask or not kill Black Mask? And I'm like, that's so you got like a choose your own adventure animated movie. I'm like, so you could, I could do like 10 I could do 10 or 12 different combinations and do a review for each different combination to tell you how the movie went. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually looking forward to that. Be right back, guys. No problem, Pikachu. Also, did Kevin and Doc mention the Green Goblin appearance? So here's the thing, Drake. Anything I talk about with those guys, I'm never going to repeat, man. I just never am. So, but I mean, I guess I can answer that question. No, we've never talked Green Goblin. So yeah. Yeah. So questions like that, like I'll never answer. But in this case, we didn't talk about Green Goblin, so I can say that. Admittedly, like Suicide Squad more than Batman versus Superman. I don't. I'm the opposite. I hate Suicide Squad. I think that is arguably one of the worst comic book movies ever. And I'm counting that because at least Steel had a little bit of heart to it. Although it's a bad movie, though, it's totally a bad movie. It's not as bad as Catwoman, and it's not as bad as Jonah Hex, or Elektra. So I guess there are some movies it's better than comic book wise, but it is bad. It's not as bad as The Crow Wicked Prayer, which is the fourth Crow movie, which is probably the worst comic book movie of all time. With Edward Furlong as the Crow, it's so bad. But I do not like Suicide Squad. But I know some people do, and that's fine. I do not care to watch the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I'm not a big Ayer fan. Zack Snyder, I at least like his stuff outside of the DCU movies. Like I'm not a big fan of Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman, but I like them more than Suicide Squad for sure. Oh, Echo, you okay? Echo's just chewing on something behind me. So yeah, anyway, so I like Zack's stuff mainly outside of the DCU movies. But Ayer, I don't really like a lot of Ayer stuff. I'm just not. I just don't gel with the kind of content he makes usually. Yeah, they should have put an uncut version of BVS in theaters. Yeah, I mean, it's a runtime thing. I mean, studios worry about that. That happened to Venom. The reason why there's stuff cut from Venom is because they didn't want to release a 2-hour, 4-minute movie or whatever it was. They didn't want to release a longer movie because it would play less times a day. And that kind of worked out for them because by making it an hour and 45-minute movie, I think it was, it got to at least play one more time a day in each theater. And I think that helped its numbers, actually. More people got to go see it per theater. So yeah, I understand why decisions like that are made. Any chance you've played the new game called Carry On? I haven't, but I think I'm going to go buy it. Well, I don't know if I'll buy it now. I just paid all my bills, so I think I have to wait till I get paid next week. It's only like $20, I think, but I've been waiting for that game since the trailer came out 2 years ago at E3. I did a trailer reaction for it on my gaming channel. I love that. That game looks amazing. It's like a Carnage game. So yeah, it's a mix between Carnage and The Thing with retro graphics. It's on Xbox Game Pass. I don't have Xbox Game Pass though, but if I did, I don't want to play it on that because you can't stream from Xbox Game Pass without a capture card, which I have. I need to get an extra HDMI cable, but I'll have to move my computer into the living room, so it would cause a lot of guff. I think I would wait until I get a laptop because that's something I want to try to get for myself. Like by Christmas, hopefully. And so if I can get myself a laptop, then I can put it out there and plug it up to the TV and, and run like the graphics card through that or whatever, hopefully, or the capture card. The marketing was horrible. I had no clue what was going on. I mean, it's a cool looking game. New Mutants looks awesome. I'm so excited for it. Me too. TMNT is great. I agree. Yes, it is from Portal. Toy-wise, I was happy that Zombie Iron Man from Hot Toys looks amazing. I did see that. That does look cool. There's also a new Predator toy that you can only find at Walmart, but I think they sold out already. But it's Predator from Predator 2, and he's like clear, but he's got like little lightning. It's when he gets struck by lightning. I want that toy so bad. I'm a big Predator fan. It feels like okay, it's still going. I got a low battery. Okay. I'm going to have to go soon, guys. I got a low battery. Feels like a callback to the phone poll that decided Jason's fate. It's true. It's a lot like that. Skull says, John Carpenter's The Thing is my favorite horror film and my third favorite film of all time, just slightly below 2001 and The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, The Thing is in my top 10 movies of all time. It came out the same year I was born, 1982. Great movie year because also we had E.T. that year and Tron as well, and The Thing. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of The Thing, one of the best remakes of all time, and definitely in my top 10. My favorite movie of all time, though, is The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951, Robert Wise. Nothing, I don't think, will ever beat that movie. I'm also a big fan of To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus Fitch. I'm a big fan. Don't get me wrong, Suicide Squad is bad, but it's the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 I'm not a big fan of either. The theatrical version of Suicide Squad was another casualty of studio meddling. I mean, that's true. Oh no. Here, let's change. All right. So my phone doesn't die. Let's try to save it. All right. Cool. We'll just go from this angle for the last few minutes here. Awesome. That better-ish, kind of? Better than seeing my bathroom back there, I guess. Theatrical version of Suicide Squad. Yes, it was a casualty of meddling. Most movies are. I want the 40 minutes of Venom cut. Yeah, for sure. The NECA Electric Predator is awesome. Yeah, that's a cool one. Hey, goodbye, Hotspot. Have a good one, dude. Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. Speaking of Hotspot, I got Transformer content. I'm going to wait 2 weeks on, but I'll probably do those again like the second week of August. This week, what I want to do is we have this episode 550. So we have the Venom vlog 550, 2,500 sub celebration, where a lot of this video was me ranting about stuff, so I apologize. But that's what I kind of wanted this video to be, was just like an AMA, talk about anything, whatever, celebrate 2,500. There was kind of a giveaway I wanted to do, but I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but maybe we'll just at least talk about it here real quick, which is Venom Island. I have the whole run. I don't want it. But I have this variant of number 25 that I bought at Gods and Monsters here in Orlando. And it was only given one per comic store. So it's a retailer summit cover limited to 3,000. And someone was like, dude, you could probably sell that and make some money. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to. I want to do a giveaway. So if you live in the US and you're over 18 and let's say this. If you live in the US, you're over 18 and you haven't been able to buy comics because you're broke, you can't, you don't live near a comic store here in the US somewhere, or they're shut down right now, or you're a Venom fan who wants to like really build a collection, have like a cool collectible item to start your collection or whatever, send me an email at theparasitepodcast@gmail.com and just tell me why you think you should win. Why, and if I get one person, I'll let it run for 2 days from now. So, or let it run to the end of the month. So July 31st. So that's 4 days, 3 or 4 days from now. So on Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, I'll email the person back that emails me. So just email me, tell me a little bit about yourself. Make sure you're 18, make sure you live in the U.S., and I will ship these to you. I'll ship you issues 21 through 25 of Venom Island. I'll put them all in bags and boards, but I'll make sure I protect them, put cardboard on them, and just send me your story. And then I'll pick a winner. I'll make a video where, if you're okay with me reading your story on an episode, I'll read it but yeah, tell me if it's hard for you to get comics right now, if you don't have any money, if you're just struggling, you're in a down point of your life, you're hurting right now financially, mentally, or like I said, you want to just start building a cool collection like my wall over there, and you just want to start somewhere. And this book, this issue 25 variant, that I promise you, no one else is probably going to have this. Let me know, and we'll start you off. We'll get you going, all right? Yeah, Blade Runner and Rambo First Blood. That's right. They both came out in 82. That's true. Welcome back, Pikachu. Yeah, I know. It was nice. Yeah, it's true. It's good to talk about this stuff sometimes. Honestly, I'm still amazed that the camera on your phone is so good. I like the poster in the background. Which one? All of them? They're all good. I got the Wolverine back there. My Age of Apocalypse ones. My signed Hugh Jackman picture. All that stuff. Yeah, my Venom stuff on that side. This is my Seek and Destroy / Asteroid X background. I have padding here, so that way I can dim down when I record my podcast interviews for Parasite Podcast. That way there's not a lot of reverb, or not reverb, but echoey type sound. Because when I record in the living room with my DC stuff and my Transformers, it's like way echoey out there. It's pretty bad. Hope Eddie Brock becomes the next Space Knight to fight Null. There you go. That'd be cool. Although Eddie Brock had trouble fighting a guy in a tin outfit in the Free Comic Book Day issue, so he better find some nuts if he's going to fight Null. Because he didn't have any in that alley. Are you a fan of Evil Dead or Bruce Campbell? Yeah, absolutely. I love Bruce Campbell. Yeah, I love your avatar actually with the laugh. Yeah, I'm a big Evil Dead fan. I saw I don't think I saw Evil Dead 1 or 2 in the theater, or if I think they did play in the theater, but I didn't see them there. I saw Army of Darkness in the theater, and when I saw Army of Darkness, I remember loving it. And Bruce Campbell. So sometimes when I write heroes, they're like Ash. Actually, they're kind of d-bags. I just think it's funny. I think it's funny. Characters like that, I just enjoy. I find them interesting because I'm like, they're clearly d-bags to cover up some insecurity, right? So I don't know. There's room to make a character out of that, and so watching guys like Harrison Ford and even Clint Eastwood sometimes, and then speaking of Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and then obviously Bruce Campbell, like they're not the same. They're like an evolution of similar characters that they play. Like Ash is like, to me, like an evolution, like a d-bag evolution of Han Solo, and Han Solo is a d-bag evolution of like Dirty Harry. So to me, it's like I like those characters. I gravitate to those kind of characters. So I love Bruce Campbell. I love that stuff. The X-Men one to the right. My camera's flipped, so I don't know which, but yeah. So this was hung up in comic book shops when I was a kid. I would go to a comic store up near my grandparents' house, and I would do yard work all day to make like a couple bucks. And I would take those, or sometimes I would get an allowance, and my grandparents were like, "You got $5 on Friday if you do some yard work or do laundry or help your grandma with stuff. You'll earn an extra $1 each chore you do. So maybe you can go to the comic store with $10 or something." So it's like cool, and that's when I was a kid, that was a pretty good amount of comics. You could probably get 4 or 5 comics for $10 when I was younger. So I'd go to the comic store, and Age of Apocalypse was happening, and the summer before that I think was the Spider-Man Clone Saga. So Yeah, this used to be in a comic shop, and when they were closing down, I asked them if I could have it. So I got that. This one I ordered on eBay. I've never seen that before, I don't think, although I think that was up in comic shops too, the one behind me. That's also Age of Apocalypse. I think that's Jay Lee. No, Dennis Calero. But it has a Jay Lee style. It also has a Sienkiewicz style too. But I love that. And so I saw that on eBay for $5, so I bought it. Then back there, I have the Mark Brooks sequel to Age of Apocalypse. And then I have Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine. And then up there, I have my Livio Ramondelli Apocalypse. I can't remember who drew that Apocalypse. I have Hugh Jackman there, and then the signed autograph one there. And that's a 20th anniversary, 20th or 15th anniversary of the X-Men movie print. You could only get it at Comic-Con. And then I also have the Dazzler album record from Dazzler was in Dark Phoenix, but I think she was in a deleted scene in Apocalypse where they go to the mall and they're looking at records, and Nightcrawler's dressed like Thriller. He's got the Thriller jacket on, which was, I like that scene. It was pretty cool. They go in and they're looking for records, and I think one of them holds up a Dazzler record, and so that was art by Bill Sienkiewicz, and I have that art somewhere else. But yeah, I'm a big X-Men fan, so I'm hoping, as we go through Venom, and after Venom Let There Be Carnage, we'll be out of comic book stuff to talk about for the most part, except for new stuff. So we'll probably go back to doing monthly reviews of the current comic at that time. But outside of that, I'm like, I need a new show to take over. And out of everything I've wanted to do, I'll still do DC stuff from time to time. I'll still do Ghost Rider stuff from time to time. And I'll still do couple other things, Transformers from time to time, but I have a feeling X-Men's going to take over at some point. So, yeah, Emma or Psylocke. I would probably go with Psylocke. She, I know my friend Alex has a big crush on Psylocke, but that's because he's head over heels for Olivia Munn. He's like in love with her. But me, Emma, I always liked Emma Frost as a bad guy, but then I liked her as the teacher for Generation X. But she was still like not a good person as a teacher, which I kind of liked. Her and Banshee opened up a new school, and Banshee basically had to keep an eye on her. So I like her in certain roles, but I don't know. Psylocke is like, I don't know. She's super hot, man. She just is. What do you think of the Evil Dead news? I heard about that. I don't know too much about it. I just think I heard an announcement that they're going to keep doing Evil Dead things with Bruce Campbell's going to do something. I love the show. The show's great. I watched all 3 seasons during this pandemic. And I love it. It's great. Well, I would have 25 variant. I'm going to pass on the giveaway so that someone else can get a full arc of Venom Island. Hopefully whoever wins gets a great time with the arc. Like I said, all you got to do if you want to try to win it, theparasitepodcast@gmail.com. If you're watching the video right now, if you're watching it later, you have until Saturday, I think is the 31st, or Friday's the 31st. So you have until Saturday morning to email me and tell me, why you should have it. And if you live in the U.S. and you're over 18 and I pick you, I'll send it to you. My local comic store gave me all their Venom posters, but I have nowhere to hang them. Oh, man, that sucks. Yeah, Golden Apple gave me 2, I think, before I left. They gave me the Sandoval one from the Lee Price issue number 1 cover, I think. But then Lonely Symbiote gave me one that's like a hologram version of it. So I have that up, and I took down the Sandoval one. But then I have an Agent Venom one over here that's half Agent Venom, half Venom. And that was a cover from the Cullen Bunn run, I think. Or maybe it was a Rick Remender run. But either way, Golden Apple gave me that too. Walmart gets Venom posters occasionally. I have to check it out. Someone else told me that. I have to look over there. Dang, I love it. Sweet setup. Thanks, Venom Vault. How's it going? Olivia Munn was my favorite thing about that Apocalypse movie. Same with my friend. So my friend Alex, he's now reading some X-Men comics because he wanted to get into them. So he's asking me for suggestions because he saw me complaining about the Hickman stuff. He's like, which older ones should I read? So I gave him some suggestions, some of which we're going to talk about on the Asteroid X show. So you'll see us talk about them soon. But Alex was like, he doesn't really like comic. Well, he likes comic movies kind of, but um, he's not a big X-Men movie fan. But he does like Deadpool. So when Apocalypse was coming out, as far as I knew, he didn't have any interest to see it. And then like 2 days before it came out, he was like, "Hey man, on Friday, can we go see, or Thursday, can we go see Apocalypse?" I go, "Oh really? You actually want to see that?" And he goes, "Oh hell yeah, dude." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Olivia Munn." So he went just for her. And I asked him, I was like, "Were you disappointed she wasn't in the movie that much?" He goes, "I don't care." He's like, "She was in it enough for me." I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." So I think if Alex could make his dream movie, it would be a Psylocke movie starring Olivia Munn. Five and Below has them too. They had some Maximum Venom ones last time I was there. I have to go look. There's a Five and Below. I've never heard of that store until recently. There's one near, like it's not near it. It's kind of on the way to one of the Walmarts I go to. So maybe one day when I go get groceries, I'll pop into Five and Below. She's a goddess, yeah. Shame they wasted her. She could have been more in more films Disney not bought. That's fine. I mean, I don't know. They still didn't put her in Dark Phoenix, so they could have put her in one more movie, and it looks like Fox didn't do it anyway. So I heard she had a terrible time working on that movie, which is a shame. It's like, I don't know. I hate that. It's like, I know movies suck. Like, here's the thing: is I've worked on movies. They suck. They do. Sometimes they just really suck. There's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of passion. There's do it this way, do it that. It's hard. It's hard to make a movie. But now we live in a day and age where just arguing with somebody over and over, like people just can't learn to work together anymore. Like we talked about that earlier with Tom King. He's like he would rather brand somebody as an evil person. In this case, I actually believe Olivia Munn talking about Bryan Singer and talking about, she loved this character and she trained. She did a ton of martial arts training. There's some cool video with her spinning a sword and like trying to stab Ryan Reynolds and stuff. I would have liked Ryan to put her in Deadpool 2. I thought that would have been cool, just to, because I think they're friends in real life or know each other. I would have liked to seen her in something else where she would have got to show more of those skills, because she did all that training and they edited and shot around all of her skills. So when you see her fight in Apocalypse, like the editing is really choppy and bad, and you're just like, come on, man, she learned these moves. Like show them without cutting. It's like you could have had a cool, how they spent all that time getting that scene where Quicksilver runs around the room one time, but then every other shot in the movie is kind of generic. You're like, dude, why don't you do what you did with Quicksilver for every character? Give every character, like, all right, let's do a Storm scene where you get to really see her powers and it's going to look really visually cool. And let's do the Quicksilver scene and a Magneto scene. And here we got Psylocke. We're bringing her in, and Angel. Let's do a cool moment with Angel. And yeah, it's like there could have been so much to that. But yeah, what do you think of X-Men Grand Design? I've read the first one. I have all of them, but I've only read the first one. Pretty neat. I mean, for a retro throwback, retelling type thing, it's a neat concept. I don't know if I'll talk about them too much on the Asteroid X show, but they're neat. And what I like about them is that they feel like traditional X-Men stories. Like Xavier has a dream and they're fighting for a goal and they want equality, and they're not terrorists, so I kind of, I like them for that reason, but I own them all, but I just haven't read them all yet, because I think there's like Extinction Agenda, Grand Design, there's a couple, but I have them all digitally. Yeah, Bryan Singer has quite the dark reputation. Bryan Singer, when I moved to LA, I got invited to a party at Roland Emmerich's house, and Roland Emmerich was throwing a birthday party for Bryan Singer, and there was just shirtless dudes everywhere, which I didn't have a problem with. I'm like, hey, whatever. I don't care. But and I met a lot of cool people there, but there were really young kids there. Not, kids, I don't want to make it sound like they were 12 or anything, but they were young. They were probably like 16 or 17. I don't know if some of them were clearly not 18. Some of them admitted they weren't even 18 yet, and they were out there drinking and walking around in a Speedo, and I'm just like, Roland Emmerich is enabling Bryan Singer to take advantage of young boys. I was kind of like, that seems awful. Like, why are people letting him do that? And I don't know. They did, I guess. So I was at the party for a little bit, and then once I realized there was that kind of air to it, like it was a little darker than than what was on the surface, because I'm like, hey, cool, bunch of hot dudes hanging out, talking about roles they're trying to get. You know, like all these guys look like superheroes. Like they were all like cut superhero looking dudes. So I was like, hey, this is cool. It's like hanging out with like the Avengers and the X-Men. Um, but when I heard about that, I heard people talking about, oh, Brian might try to take that boy, you know, up to the guest house or whatever. And I'm just like, what? And that's when I started to learn about Bryan Singer, and that's when I stopped being a fan of Bryan Singer. I didn't know that stuff was happening before then, but when I learned about it, it made me sick to my stomach. So yeah, he's a you know, dark reputation indeed. He also grabbed my brother. I think the very next year at Comic-Con. Was it the next year? Or was it the year before? Maybe this happened first. You know what? Maybe I already didn't like Bryan Singer to begin with. Actually, that makes sense because we were at Comic-Con the year before with my little brother, and my brother was 20 or 21 at the time, so he was older, but he was a young looking dude. Like he looked younger. And we went and met Bryan Singer and Brandon Routh because Superman Returns was coming out, and Bryan Singer like grabbed my brother when they were taking a photo together, and my brother told him, like, he's like smacked his hand, he's like, "Whoa, what are you doing, bro?" You know, and Brian, I guess Brian was on something too. So he was like, "Oh, sorry, dude, sorry," you know, and my brother was like, "Whatever." And I asked him, I was like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "What happened?" He goes, "Oh, he grabbed me." And I go, "On purpose?" And my brother's like, "Yeah." And I go, "I'll go kick his ass." And my brother's like, "No, no, no." Like he's like, my brother's like, I think he's on some drugs, dude. And I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." And I go, "All right, well, let's just get out of here." So I think I already had an issue with Brian, but then I heard stuff like that at that party, and I was like, "Guys, I gotta go." I was like, because I don't want to be here around this kind of like that kind of environment. I'll hang out with gay dudes all day, but I'm not going to be there where like when young kids, you know, like underage kids are getting hurt like that. Assuming that happened at the party, I don't know if it did, but that's the reputation he has, is what I'm saying. And last, before Disney bought Fox, they gave us the greatest comic movie of all time, Logan. Dude, Logan is so freaking good. Did you see all the X-Men toys coming out? I'm debating. I filmed a video about it, and I'm debating on putting it up because I really don't want to cover a lot of toys on my X-Men show. But you guys tell me if you think you want to see it. I recorded it already, but I talked about all from the HasLab thing, where the giant 3-foot Sentinel thing, or 26 to 27-inch Sentinel. And then they have a Hellfire Club toys coming out, Deadpool 2 toys, X-Men 1 movie toys coming out, Logan movie toys coming out. It's ridiculous. I've been wanting X-Men toys for years, and we started to get some over the past like year and a half, 2 years. Like every once in a while there'll be a Marvel Legend set or something, or a couple figures. But now it's like just raining X-Men toys. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds bombing the X-Men Zoomcast. I did see that. That was awesome. I like what they did with the paper and the Grand Design books. Yeah, the material is amazing. Hey, Marcus Albertson, how's it going? What up, dude? Welcome. Unfortunately, you're coming in near the end because I'm tired. We've talked for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think that's a long enough, a 550th episode. So let me just catch up on the comments here. Men in Tights, Julian says, Logan is my number one favorite of the X-Men films and was my favorite film of 2017. Logan, I love that movie. I have the black and white version too. I love that movie. I own 2 different versions of the Blu-ray as well. I had to get the Target version where you get the black and white photo book. James Mangold is a genius, great filmmaker. And I do love the movie. And I love that they kind of put Albert in the movie, the clone Wolverine. I think that was originally scripted to be Sabretooth, or I heard a rumor about that. I don't know if that's true or not. And they were going to get Liv Schreiber back to play Sabretooth. I thought that would have been even cooler, because then you could have had a closure to Wolverine killing Sabretooth kind of thing. But, you know, putting in like an evil Hugh Jackman Albert clone was kind of cool too. So, plus it made that scene where he kills Xavier, you know, like it hits you in the feels big time. How did you feel about Disney buying Marvel? I mean, what can you do? I think I was excited about it at first. But I don't know. There's good and bad. Like with every business transaction, there's good and bad. I feel like their comics, I feel like, need to be doing better, but I don't think that's Disney's fault. I have a feeling eventually things are going to change in comics. I was saying, you know, what I would really like is to get some like new creators, new faces, get them to do like those $4.99 DC books that DC used to put out. They don't do it anymore, but make $4.99 Marvel books, or heck, even little $9.99 graphic novels, and have it have them be like 100 pages, and have like 5 20-page stories in there from new creators, new people, or maybe even people that work on Pixar movies or Disney movies, or you know, Imagineers or something. But have them do their spin on Marvel characters and kind of do that and sell it only in Disney stores. I would rather buy that than most of the Marvel books on the shelf right now, for sure. But to me, the best book Marvel puts out is Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky. If you're not reading that, then you're not reading the best book at Marvel right now, because to me, that is hands down the best book Marvel puts out. Most underrated comic book movie, Punisher Warzone. I like that movie. That's pretty fun. Jigsaw. So over the top. It's X-Men. It's badass. You already filmed it. Why the hell wouldn't you release it? I do that all the time. You guys would be surprised. We would actually be higher on Venom vlog episodes than 550 if I posted every video I've made of Venom vlog. You'd be surprised. There's been times where I've filmed things and I'm just like, I sat on it for a day or two and I'm like, I'm not going to release it. Yeah, I've done it, believe it or not. We'd probably be closer to episode 600 right now if I posted every Venom vlog I've ever made. And it wasn't like they sucked or anything. It was just, I don't know. I just felt like my delivery on some of them may not have been as good, or my energy was down, or I filmed it on a day where I forced myself to do it. I had a headache. And then when I rewatch it, when I was editing it, I'm like, no, dude, I don't want people to see me like this, like where I look sick and stuff. So yeah, I want you guys to be in a good mood when you come here. Oh yeah, Marvel Legends doing Deadpool 2 figures. Yes, they are. Do you think the MCU could save the X-Men by influencing the comics, or do you think the real X-Men are lost to us for the time being? I think Jonathan Hickman's going to finish his story no matter what. I feel like he's one of those writers that even when sales go down, they're going to keep him on the book for a while. So I feel like no matter what, he's going to write the X-Men like he did Avengers. He's going to work on them for like 4 or 5 years and then maybe do a big event with them and then leave the book. I just hope whoever comes in after him just undoes everything, or I hope that Hickman ends his run by undoing everything, by going back to the beginning when Moira meets Xavier, and then they have the interaction they had the first time they met. That's and he just puts all the pieces back in the sandbox. That's what I would like him to do, but he feels too egotistical, in my opinion. It's so weird. People ask me why I have a problem with his X-Men stuff, and I go, I love his Fantastic Four run. I like his Avengers run. He doesn't change anything about the characters in those runs. He adds elements, but he doesn't completely change who the characters are. But for some reason, he changed everything about the X-Men. Everything about the X-Men. Even to the point where Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey are a couple, I guess, the three of them. Even that's weird. I'm like, well, who cares? Like, and also what? Like, Wolverine and Cyclops? Like, what kind of slash fic writing are you doing here, dude? Like, there's a time and place for things. I'm all for a good orgy or threesome, but not between Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. Like, there's other characters that are open to do that stuff with. Like, I don't know. So I'm not a fan. So I think the X-Men are dead to me for right now, and that's fine. They can belong to whoever's like in the book. I will come back whenever the next writer comes on, assuming that they, find a way to bring him back to closer to the status quo. They don't need to. I don't want them to regurgitate old stories or just go back to things for the sake of doing it for the most part, but it just seems weird to fundamentally change characters of who they are instantly like that. And that's what I don't like about the X-Men book, is that it wasn't a slow evolution of them changing to this perspective. It was someone time traveling and cheating, someone who didn't even have time travel powers before, but now suddenly does, cheating and saying, hey, I looked in the future, every version of it, you guys lose. And Xavier goes, we lose? And it's like, lose what? You weren't what? That's what I hate. It's that's mentality. That's like that weird, political ideology where it's like, we have to win. We have to do everything that we can to win. That makes you an extremist in my book. And that's what the X-Men have become. They're extremists. They're not actually fighting for core values. Mutants' lives don't matter to them to an extent, like they say they do. But then they threaten to steal a kid from the Fantastic Four. They're like, hey, your son's technically a mutant, so tell him to come. He can come visit us one day where his real family is. You're like, what a D-bag thing to say, Cyclops. So to me, they're not even, they're weirdos. Like the X-Men are right now, they're weirdos. But it's that mentality of we got to win. It's like Xavier never saw this as a contest of winning anything. He just wanted the world to coexist peacefully. You can interpret that as that's his victory. He wanted that to happen. So by saying he didn't win, that means he didn't get that. But it's like, no, he wouldn't phrase it like that. He wouldn't phrase it like, oh, we lost. It's not a sports game. It's not a political, race to the presidency. It's not that. In fact, I actually thought that would have been a cool thing to do in the comic books, is make Xavier the president of the United States and have the world's first mutant president, and have it be Xavier. And if people, and because that's the thing about Xavier, they do this thing where they try to write him like as cynically. They're like, oh, he has mental power, so he no doubt interferes with everyone around him. And so over time, writers actually wrote that, like Mike Carey and Claremont, even some of them, they made it to where Xavier really was a deceiving D-bag. And I don't want that version. I like him having more of a Superman set of morals and codes, more, like more of like what Martin Luther King said. I know Martin Luther King had some things in his life that aren't, that kind of add some shade to, to his record of things. But to me, I still feel like what he said, his speeches and stuff, like that's the embodiment of, I think, what Xavier was. And then you add in these ideals from like someone like a Superman, like that's how I feel Xavier is. So I feel like, no, he wins the presidency because, and everyone's going to go, oh, he used his mind powers to like win the votes. And, and have him just like, I'll run as president with a power dampener, so I can't use my powers, and I'll run as a non-powered mutant, because that's not about that for me. I want you to hear my values. I want you to hear my perspective on things, and I want to win fairly. Like that's the kind of guy Xavier is, and I'm surprised that of all the years of Xavier in comics, no one has ever tried to write him as someone who would run for president of the United States. To me, that seems like the natural progression after, I would have in the 90s or end of the 90s after the Onslaught thing, he has to go into exile for a while to, as an act of contrition in a way, like he has to, come to terms with himself, have people forgive him forgive himself. And then when they brought him back after, like, with Cassandra Nova, with Grant Morrison did, after that run, if I was Chuck Austen taking over that book, I would have been like, no, let's actually do this instead. Let's have Xavier try to run for the president of the United States. I think that would have been a cool progression of the character. Wolverine is the power bottom. Yeah, I guess so. He is. Yeah, Hickman is boring. I like his Fantastic Four stuff, and I like some of his Avenger stuff. I thought it was pretty good. Dragged out, though. His Avenger stuff dragged out big time. I wish he would have condensed a little bit more. But I thought Secret Wars was nice. I actually like that storyline. I like more about it than I dislike about it. But yeah, no, I don't like his X-Men stuff at all. He is very boring. He's very boring. I get it, man. If I stayed on schedule on my podcast, I would be at well over 100 episodes by now. I think that's the hardest part, right? Is waking up and doing it. It's the hardest part. Compare Spider-Man 3 to a Venom movie. How would you do it? Well, one has too many villains in it, and the other one could have done better with their villain. Well, both movies could have done better with their villain, because Spider-Man 3 could have done better with Venom, and Venom could have done better with Riot. So I guess that's how I would compare them. So yeah, Garth and his Punisher is the best Punisher run, hands down. It's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do like it. I'm a sucker for the original Warzone and War Journal stuff. I grew up reading that stuff. That's where I got first introduced to Jim Lee and stuff too. So I'm a fan of that stuff as well. There's a couple Punisher runs that I like actually, but Garth Ennis one's freaking fantastic. It's super good. So anyway, I said I would give you guys 2 hours. It's been almost 2.5. I got 20 thumbs up, 9 of you guys here. I think I've talked long enough. So I'll wrap it up by saying, obviously thank you for everything. 2,500 subscribers is honestly something I wanted, but I never thought I was actually ever going to get by doing a show about Venom or doing any show on YouTube. And the fact that we got here is awesome. And it's all of our victories. I know you guys said congratulations to me, but it's, like I said, I just make the content. You guys watch it. And some of you guys watch them all the way to the end. You watch the full videos, which is amazing. I mean, even sometimes I don't do that on YouTube and from people I like. So I know it's asking a lot, and you guys do it, and it means a lot. So this victory is all of our victory. This is our channel together. And that's why I think the smartest thing I did on this channel was introduce the Parasite podcast. And that way I can talk to some of you guys in the comments. And then also you could be on an episode after, like Royce, son of Sinbad, Royce, comic creator, content creator, Jared Benkins, actor. Like, you guys are now in the same echelon as them. And I got that idea from Dan Harmon, because Dan Harmon would have people like Robin Williams on Harmontown, and then a week later he would have a guy like me on. And so, and I'm nobody, and so that's where I got the idea from. I'm trying to channel my inner Dan Harmon that way and give you guys a chance to talk on the show and be a part of the show, more so than just being people in the comments. And I love seeing your comments. I love responding to them. I know sometimes I just put a heart on them and stuff just to let you know I read them. I heart and thumbs up almost every comment that I can. Sometimes my fat fingers thumbs down things. I noticed that recently, and I deleted a comment recently, which sometimes that happens. My stupid phone will get stuck on. I'm trying to scroll and it gets stuck, and so, I do my best. I do my best. I'm like, I get so mad. But no, this is an accomplishment of all of us. And so thank you for being proud of me, but be proud of yourselves too. Thanks for being part of this community. Thanks for, keeping me going, for showing me stuff to make videos on, for being in videos with me. Some of you, like, it's just been a real pleasure, and it means a lot to me. So hopefully, here's to 2,500 more. That would be great if one day we hit 5,000. I would love us to hit 3,000 by the end of the year. Coming up, I'm not going to be on social media anymore, so I'm not going to be able to grow the channel using those platforms anymore to an extent. So if you have those platforms and you want to share my videos, feel free to do it. Try to get a friend to subscribe if they like Venom or comic book stuff or Transformers. Like, if you hear anyone, you're like, hey, you like that kind of stuff? Check out this YouTuber. That's what I do in my personal life. Sometimes I'll be at, like, work, and I'll go, oh, yeah, I do a YouTube channel. Like, what about what? And I go, Venom. They're like, what? I love Venom. I'm like, cool. And write my link down. And then I get a new subscriber that way. So, I try to do things to spread the awareness of this channel. I do want to grow. I'm not anti-growing, but I just want people to know as we grow that I'm not going to do it with clickbaity things. I'm not, I try to do research. I try to bring you guys the most accurate information I can. And even when I'm wrong, I do apologize. You've seen me, I've deleted videos before because I was wrong. I try my best. That's all I can do. I try my best, like everyone out there does. But I feel like sometimes I feel like I try harder than some other people, but I think other people are just in a different mindset. They don't consider themselves journalists. They just consider themselves fans. And that was something I never really thought about, really, until someone explained it to me, that there are people out there who are just like, hey, I got a big platform, but I'm just a dude. I'm not a journalist. I just talk about things on my show, and I don't care if they're leaks or whatever. And it's like, but me, when things leak out, if they're released accidentally, and, like Marvel recently put Wraith on their Marvel service, unlimited service, I didn't go read it. I don't want to know about what's going to happen. Because I want to, if I'm going to read it, I want to pay for it. Like, that's just kind of person I am. So I try not to do that. I don't pirate things. I don't, I've always been like that. I've always kind of had that rule. And that's just because for the last 20 years, almost, I've made content. I've made, worked in movies, I've worked in TV, I've worked in comic books. And so I know the feeling of when people take your stuff for free. So it's like, it's a bummer sometimes. You're like, dude, I worked really hard on that. And you're making a YouTube video where you're just showing all the artwork, and you're just, like a comic explained or whatever. Luckily, he does a lot of videos that are older, but sometimes Comic Storian or whoever, one of those guys, they'll make a video the day after the comic comes out, because they probably get them in early from their comic store, because most comic stores get comics a day early. They put them out on Wednesday, they get them on Tuesdays. So I'm sure this guy has some kind of hookup. He gets the comics a day early. He can go home, make his video. He scans the whole comic and then just shows every page. Like, it's like, God dang, dude, the day after the comic comes out. So that's why sometimes I don't like reviewing comics right when they come out, because I want to give people a chance to watch or read them themselves and things like that. So I don't always do it, but I try. I try my best. I try not to be like those guys. So we are Venom indeed. Thank you, guys. Thank you for thanking me. I like the idea of Secret Wars, but they completely undermined it by going into alternate universes. Yeah, that's true. But we got to go into an Age of Apocalypse universe, so shut up. No, I'm kidding. We are Venom. Thank you very much. See you later, Siike. We are Venom. You too, man. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Swordsman. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everyone who's here, Venom Vault. Everyone who popped in. I appreciate you guys. You're welcome. Thank you for your amazing content. I'm glad you think it's amazing. I'll keep it going, and we'll try to wrap up the Flash Thompson stuff, at least most of it, by the end of the season. And we'll try to at least get through everything up until Space Knight. Maybe we'll save Space Knight and the Lee Price stuff into next season, along with Peter Parker, the years he was wearing the black suit. We'll talk about that too. And then I'm telling you, man, when the movie comes out next summer, there ain't going to be any old comics left to talk about for the most part. I mean, we can still do the history of Venom in video games. I feel like there's already been people that did those on YouTube before, and I've seen a couple of those videos and they're good. And I feel like if I try to do them now, I would just kind of emulate them. So I need to wait and distance myself from them. And I'm also gonna have to get footage of those games played somehow. So we'll figure it out. I'll figure out a way to do it, but we'll do it sometime down the line. But eventually we're going to run out of Venom stuff to talk about outside of the movie. And I have a feeling it's going to come after the movie comes out. So after the movie comes out, we'll have to talk about is the box office and the Blu-ray and stuff. And then we're just going to have nothing else to fill the time. So we'll probably start, we'll talk about Morbius, obviously, and probably Spider-Man 3, whatever that movie's going to be called, because now they're all in the same universe. So we'll talk about stuff, but I'm going to keep it restricted just to movies with Morbius and Spider-Man. I'm not going to go through the history of Spider-Man or the history of Morbius. We might talk about a few comics of Morbius, but not a ton. But yeah, that's what I got to do. We're going to focus more on X-Men at that point, because I want to talk about X-Men. So thank you for that. Both do that. Unfortunately, we are Venom. The stream has been a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys liked it. 2.5 hours. We're leaving now. I'm going to go. Bye. Have a great day. Remember, we are Venom. You too, Stupid Unicycle. You too, Let's Talk Carnage. And like I said, if you guys want to win these comics, send me an email at theparasitepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys in the future. Peace.